Alrighty. Bucket. What's up, What's up, G Doctor? Welcome in, welcome in. Let me do that. Let's get get the reviews up. How's everyone doing? How did the what's it called? The Splatfest go? Any big time winners? Tri-Slosher Blue. Wait, what color is Tri-Slosher? I think that's like the darker blue. I think this is Tri-Slosher-ish blue. Full of headaches. I was going through that not too long ago. Sorry to hear, my friend. I don't know if I've gotten that Scouter yet. I might need to play Salmon Run at some point. Got Inkling Boy amiibo? Nice, congrats, congrats. Is that the one for Splatoon 3, or was that like one of the older Splatoon ones? I'm not like fully caught up with the amiibo. Just like a Slosh, thank you. Alright. Okay. I think we're good. Let's go to the shops real quick. And we are going to just roll into the reviews. I'll have to check the last one, but I think that one's good. Right. Do our 5,000 roll, and then we'll be on our way. Old version? Oh, I see, I see. Welcome in, Nia. Hello, hello. Oh, my frame rate. Out still. Once it's done with a Splatfest, I'm gonna use all of my coins. Maybe I can finally get a gold or silver capsule. Have you been watching Gridlock? I've been watching it on and off. I haven't watched all of it, but I just watched like Dude's team versus I wasn't sure the other players. But it was a pretty fun set. I think the production of the LAN as a whole has been really nice, and just obviously seeing a lot of familiar faces in the community is really, really cool. So I will probably need to go back and watch like all of the finale and, you know, all the hijinks that happen between everything. But like, I think overlays and stuff are really nice. Obviously commentators and players really nice. Seemed like a very nice event, truthfully. What about yourself? Oh yeah, I saw. I'm not gonna lie, dude was crazy for picking up Rainmaker there. I was scared. They might have even died to Crab if Hammer didn't get it, but that was a nice hammer throw. It was a really nice hammer throw. That was like that. Honestly, all those matches in that set were really exciting. They were all very back and forth. But yeah, it's been really cool to see a lot of like lands. V Wiper. And open. It's S+2 rank, but Rally is a comp player. Yeah, it should be good. Let me ping them real quick. And after the stream, I need to update get the full VODs out there. I'm so behind on stuff. So much to do, so little time. Alright. So let's get right into it. Also, it's been so hot today. I filled in for a scrim and they gave me Baja Blast, so who's the real winner? Alright. So when looking at this game, what is it? Oh, zones. Nice. People, again, I always say it, people get extra kudos for sending me zones clips. No, I like all modes, but I extra enjoy zones. Yo, what's up, Chris? Hello, hello. Hope you're doing well. Sorry, I'm just getting my voice stuff on my PC situated. So I know quite a few players from both teams, and it looks like they're playing against a somewhat organized team, both with their comp and with their names. Here now, nice. Let's go, let's go. Oh, ads. Yeah. I wish there was a way to like cut some of those down, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, so we are this wiper. Both comps are pretty solid overall. We talked about it a lot yesterday, but the whole synergy between Inkjet and Zap is pretty solid. Cooler synergizes with Inkjets, and it also is a nice way to mitigate the damage playing against one. No worries, no worries. And then again, Slosh, what am I saying, Slosh? V-Splash with Crab is very solid. It's especially solid. It's a nice consistent tool for like retakes and for holds. So I really like it. The one thing that our team lacks that the enemy team has is some ledge presence with the Sasha machine. There's a lot of ledges, and especially fighting for stacks, which is very important on this map, basically in every mode. Having something that can deal with ledges very well is a nice add to the overall team. So we're definitely seeing an older kind of meta comp from a few patches ago, but I think it still holds up now. And I think our team is generally pretty solid as well. I think Hammer's like okay on this map. Not amazing, not bad. I think it's okay. And torpedoes are kind of annoying to have to deal with. So overall, I think both teams are kind of solid, but I would like to see us get a lot of value out of our Tacticooler and Inkjet. And the enemy team, they have triple burst bomb, and they have like the ability to deal with ledges, so their team can be very scary once they like have a setup. So we have to be a little bit mindful of that and be a little bit careful about that. We'll see how we play at the beginning, but again, at the beginning, a lot of times that person that can deal with ledges really well, a lot of times they'll push around this area and start to fight for the enemy team stack. We'll see where the Sloshing Machine goes, but that's one thing you have to be a little bit careful about if you're holding left stack at the beginning of the match. So I would imagine our team is just trying to paint for specials at the beginning, but we'll see how it goes. Nice, quick and easy wipe. I love to see it. I like us working with our teammate over here. I'd be careful about dropping down specifically like this. We have numbers, so even if we trade, like, it's still fine. But I'd like to get some more information. And we can, like, instead of just dropping here, I forgot to turn on color lock. We'll use yellow until the end. But instead of dropping here, I would either like to use these little uninkables and get some extra height, or just take a half second and watch the drop. You can also like drop this way and push through this way, because your teammates should be pushing through mid. So at least that gives us another angle. But there's a decent chance if there's anyone in mid, like they're going to be watching the stack there. So again, we don't really get punished, but we have to be a little bit careful about that type of play. It's not gonna ruin the retake or anything, but something to be careful about. No. Wiper v Wiper. One thing I want to mention, yo, what's up, Fizzybone? Hello, hello. The one thing that I do want to mention, when we have hammer like this, I like holding onto it a little bit longer. There isn't anything in particular from the enemy team that we need to like use Wiper for, but it goes back to like the threat of Wiper versus the value that we get just throwing Wiper. In this kind of scenario, we're going to be playing off of our teammates' inkjet in a lot of cases. So even if we want to use it for when they initially get out of spawn, I would like to see us slow down a little bit. We don't need to pop the hammer quite yet. Because if I know that Wiper's sitting over here and I know they have a hammer, I have to be like extra careful. Because if I drop onto a hammer, I just like immediately get spotted. So again, it's just one of those things of like the threat of having something and using it at any point versus the actual value that we get going for this kind of throw. Like there's a chance we get like one maybe, and maybe there's someone when they come in for landing. And again, Wiper as a whole isn't like, I mean, a hammer as a whole isn't like a high value special in its own right, but I think you get a lot of value just threatening it consistently. Because like in a situation like this, you could probably have your hammer ready to just like guarantee this pick. We do a good job of consistently moving, but there's a chance this person just jumps down on us and dunks us. But either way, nice just shots on all of that. And funny Splatana stuff. But overall, this initial play is like very solid. Hope Minship wins, but Vanilla came out of the gate swinging. My eyes are strained from looking at their ink. Yeah, dude, I can't. The actual like ink, or what am I trying to say? All of the Splatfest colors, like between their like super bright and shininess, they're fun to look at, but they're like tough to visually see. I'm actually with you. It like unironically like kind of messes with my eyes, but you know, anything for mint chip, you know. Doing a good job following up with our teammates. Probably should be focusing on painting, but this is okay, yeah. Honestly, I'm not even going to blame you for that. I'll probably just blame the team as a whole. But we definitely should have had a KO here. So a couple of things here. And this is like one of those things when you're playing in solo queue. A lot of times people will pick up someone's habits and then they'll like fill in the gaps. And a lot of times throughout this match, we're holding this left side. And like us going for the right side isn't too bad. Like I think this is totally like fine. But we kind of lose out on holding this side of the map because like we kind of commit to this. So it doesn't really like matter. And again, it's not like a bad decision or anything, but just something that I noticed that a lot of times people kind of like find the roles, and especially if people like have those types of roles like again and again throughout the match, like people kind of just start adhering to that, which changing from that is not bad, but we do leave like a bit of an opening here, but we're able to pressure a lot while pushing and everything, so it's not too bad. The other thing I do want to mention with Hammer is after we get the first pick, it's like after we get the first pick here, we probably should look to like strafe backwards and look to deal with this person. I don't like running away from them and exposing our back, because there's a good chance that they're able to deal with us. And we do try to go back, but it's like too late, you know? Because when we change directions, yeah, this is an open game, but they're playing a team of 4 because they have like matching names. I don't really know. There's names that I see that I know over here, but I don't know how many of them are actually partied up together. Because when you try to change directions, look at it from like the overhead. But the closer you are to the person, like the faster you strafe on their screen visually. So if you like strafe here, or like, you know, if you change either direction when you're this close to them, they're gonna have a harder time like tracking you, because you will be visually like moving faster on their screen because you're like just a lot closer, because of like rotational velocity and all that fun stuff. But when we start trying to make a move here and start changing directions, this is when like it's a lot easier for them to deal with. Plus there isn't a hammer like right in their face. So a super minor optimization, but overall like the play itself is totally fine. And I think just same thing here where we're kind of like doubling up. It was the same thing with on the right side. I don't know if we necessarily want to like double up here. Like it'd be nice for either you to move or to have your zap potentially move into a different direction, so that you're not both like stuck here and you can kind of bait one another. Yeah, because this is one of the potential like punishes of doing this, where especially, so we'll go back like another second or two, especially in like a environment where you can't communicate with your team, like when if you're in this type of position, ideally you're both going to want to like come out of ink at the same time, because once they come out of ink, you're totally exposed and you're just like threatened. But and it's also 2 people that like aren't painting currently and not posing any kind of threat. Again, in a vacuum, I like you sharking here. I'm fine with something like zap sharking here, although it's probably better for you to be able to do it because you can handle ledges a little bit easier, or a lot better, honestly, compared to a zap. But again, if you see a teammate that's sharking, I would just opt, even if it's not optimal, I would just opt to like back out. Like you can play this game of chicken of like, you know, I don't want to move because I'm the better weapon here and hope that they move, but I just, in general, I'm usually the one that just back down. If they're sitting in a spot, whatever, I'll reposition. But again, good idea, but when we're doubling up on like the exact same position, anything that one of us does like impacts the other person. And especially in a game like Splatoon, like sometimes, especially as like a shooter player, you can like shoot your teammate accidentally. So you have to make sure that you're not sitting in front. It didn't really happen here, but you have to make sure that you're not sitting in front of one another because like you can body block the other person's shots, which feels miserable. Multiple people surround you and then you're trapped. Yeah, for sure. Well said. Nice hammer. You take those? When people body block my shots, I wanna cry. That's what I'm saying. It's never on purpose, but sometimes it just happens. So anything you can do preventative to avoid that situation helps tremendously. But for the most part, I really like that we're using our range. Again, in this type of situation, I want us to focus using our range here. Like, we have control of zone, we have control of mid, we don't have to, like, take this fight. I'm fine pressuring them because you kind of outrange. But you see that type of engagement you had with the sloshing machine? Where, like, you poke shots, you control, like, you're like, hey, if you want to poke in the mid, like, I'm going to punish you. So then they have to back out. Like, we want to do a similar idea, just, again, in this context where we have lead, we have mid control, and we're in like a dominant position. I want us to do that instead when we push up here. Like, I'm good. Like, pushing up on the stack is really good. But again, use these areas. They give you extra height, which means that your effective range is a little bit, like the differential between your range and their range, you have significantly more range. And if for whatever reason, if they ever like, you know, were to use like a crab, or if they like overcommit and you feel uncomfortable, then you can just like drop off the ledge at any point. And it allows your, when you play back here and up here, and if you want to play like on the very ledge of the inkable area, that's fine as well. But there's no reason not to take the extra height, especially when you already have like a full ink tank. Just because you're super safe against both of these weapons here. And like Stamper sometimes can punish you for doing that, but if you're, you know, if they had a charger or something, you have to be more mindful, but they don't really have a backline. So anywhere where you can just establish that height differential and range differential, you're super chilling. That's like one of the pitfalls of these types of comps, which Stamper helps with a little bit, but if you're playing against something that has more range, and like Wiper kind of chews up splashes, and really any short range shooter. But in order to do that, you want to focus on just staying alive. Because like if these people, like we don't need to get those picks now. If they push this way or they push this way, you have teammates helping on both sides. There's no need for us to force this play currently. We're in control. We're fine just taking like very minimal risk and still holding down an important part. Like if you get these picks, it's great, but there's just like, there's a chance that this game turns around if you get splatted here. And we want to minimize risk. Like the better the lead you have, the less risk that you need to take generally. But when like y'all are in a good spot, so again, you don't want to get to the point where you're not taking any risk, but like sitting up here and fighting for left stack is still very, very strong, especially for your weapon. And it also opens up angles to be able to see, like, if you're sitting up here, you have an easier time seeing anyone that's trying to push through this left street area. And you can see if they're pushing through this right side of the stack. And then obviously you can fight them if they're pushing through the stack itself. But just, you know, take it a little bit slower. We don't need the force as the Wiper here in this current situation. Or the situation that was here previously. It just makes our life a little bit harder for seemingly no reason. We don't have anyone watching left side and they just kind of push through, which is a little bit scary. Again, in this situation, it probably doesn't matter. But there's been a couple of times this game where we were like overloading one side versus the other. Which if you know the enemy team is going to be playing on one specific side, then you can counter it by overloading it. But like when they're down like this, oh whoops, I wasn't far back enough. Like we saw that they were starting to put some pressure on the left side. So it'd be better just for us to like hold this. Like we know this person's here and they crab over here and they have someone here. There's a good chance that they're going to drop 2 people from the left side in this kind of situation. So we at least want to have a presence, and we can sit, again, we can sit on top of our stack if we need to. We can even just play over here. We can potentially, if we want to, we can look to push up and use this block as cover, because we know these people have to be very desperate to push in, so they don't have time to like fully check like the block and everything. So if you want to use that to your advantage, you can play this a lot more aggressive, and when these people start floating in this way or this way, you can like drop behind them and have an opportunity to get a free pick. But I don't like us just not taking that into account and overloading this crab. Because I've been the crab in this position. They can hit the stack very well, and they can hit behind the stack really well. But they can only paint like half the zone. So when it comes to like holding the zone in the situation, like this isn't that much of a threat. Only if y'all are playing like super far forward like this. So again, we don't really get punished. There's a lot of little things that we don't get punished for in this review, but as we play against stronger and stronger teams, we want to be careful and mindful of those types of vulnerabilities. But overall, very, very good stuff. We feel pretty comfortable with our wiper play. But just in general, there was a couple of overarching things. I'm gonna switch back to red real quick. And I'm gonna make sure I turn color lock back on. My eyes do not like all these colors. All right, so first, I think the biggest thing is leverage your range. Specifically with an advantage, but honestly, just any time where it makes sense, it's important to do. How long does it take to do a review? I'm trying to speed it up a little bit because I need to catch up, but it can take anywhere from like 45 minutes to like 2 hours. But I'm trying to get through them in like anywhere between 20 and 45 minutes, I think, right now. Oh, overall. So if you want to get something submitted, I'm actually going to probably close out the submissions like after today, just until the new patch happens, because I don't want people to send stuff throughout the week and then they announce the patch and then I don't have time to get to everyone. So we'll definitely get to it in like the next couple of days. I don't know what my stream schedule is next week. But I should be streaming most of the early week. So by Monday or Tuesday, we should be, like, if you submit it today, by Monday or Tuesday, you should be good. But in general, it can take anywhere between a couple of days from when you post, but sometimes life can get busy and I can't stream on like a super consistent basis. I'm trying to stream at least like 3 to 4 times a week, which has been, we should have a more consistent schedule recently, but yeah. Oh yeah, there were some Splatfest ones off the top. You're right. So yeah. But anyways, leverage our range, and a lot of this is, I think there's positioning that we're not considering. And I feel like we autopilot a little bit when taking fights. Kind of the big example here is when they had 2 people over here, you were sitting here, and like your team had, it was a 4v3, so it had like a numbers advantage, and you outranged both of these people as a wiper. You ended up trying to go in for like the one shots, and you went 1 for 1, which like overall isn't too bad, but your team had full control, and instead of pushing them, I'd rather us jump, like either just stay where we're at or jump up. There's a lot of reasons why I like jumping up to this area. I might jump into recon mode real quick and just kind of show that off. But you can see all around, like your visibility is way better, and the potential for you to get splatted by the sloshing machine or the zap, or sorry, the V splash is almost zero. Because if these people start pushing up, like you should be able to take care of them. But even if you can't, you drop off. You had teammates over here. You had a BP over here. Like they'll support you. And I mean, the ballpoint was able to support you for this first splash pick, but in general, we just want to take it as responsible as we can whenever we have the higher likelihood of winning the match. But yeah, like we can slow, especially with the advantage, we can definitely like slow down. I have more hours in recon than I have in matchmaking. I can absolutely guarantee it. Like obviously way more than table turf. Although if table turf gets ranked, I would have more hours in table turf than probably any other mode in the game. Every time there's a new patch and there's not a ranked mode for table turf, it like honestly kills me. I think table turf is such a cool mode and it's never going to get the love that it deserves until people can very easily find matches. And you know, like without a ladder, it's really hard for a meta to develop. And if there isn't a meta that's developing and I can't constantly play against better and better opponents, I'm like not interested. Yeah, I don't want to play with AI either. It's just boring. Card games often, some newer games, like I downloaded the small tangent. I downloaded re-downloaded. I played Riot, like Legends of Runeterra, Riot's card game for like a really long time. When it first came out, I was obsessed. I used to love League of Legends. Still do, but I just like don't play the game anymore. But their card game is like magnificent. And I went back to it recently and they added this whole kind of like journey adventure solo like one player mode, and it's been wonderful. So like playing against AI can be, because there's like a bunch of progression, there's a bunch of variety with everything. Like you don't really get that. Like table turf is very bare bones. There's a lot of depth and strategy to the actual matches themselves, but the entire infrastructure around like playing with AIs specifically is like really bad. So if they had matchmaking, that mode is like going to be incredible. It is absolutely going to be fantastic, and I'm going to be addicted, and I would be streaming it all the time. But until then, I do not care about table turf anymore. But yeah, long story short, yes, I play a lot of recon. I've probably played more recon than any other thing in this game. Like if you separate like scrims and tournament stuff, like all the PV or all the private battle stuff and all the matchmaking stuff and story mode and table turf, like recon is definitely the highest for me. Not a question. I haven't been doing it quite as much lately, but I am picking up some different weapons, so I'm still going back periodically, but I don't use it quite as much. But yeah, leveraging our range, really important when we play against short range shooters and stuff that we like outrange. I think the other thing is part of it is rotating, and part of it is like stepping on our teammates' toes. There's a time when we pushed through with our hammer, which like again, the overall play wasn't bad, but like we're taking the same route as like our teammate over here, and I don't love the play. Like if our teammate's gonna shark over here, we have to, and it was one of our shooter weapons. Like we have to just know, you know, and this goes back to like understanding your weapon and understanding other weapons. If you're gonna sit in this type of or like if two of you are sitting in this situation, either back up or in general just like rotate to a different position, or just like swing out wide and start to pressure these people. Because you can swing out of here and like you can back up this way and reposition if you need to, but don't bunch up together. Like it was pretty fortunate that you like popped your hammer as you went around the corner and were able to find a pick. Because there was a chance if it was just the machine here, like there's a chance that we get no value out of this whole play. So we were like, again, we're a little bit fortunate over this. Same thing that happened over here where we did actually get punished. Which like for the most part you were holding this left side, but if you just notice a teammate like trying to take a certain play, like if they're sitting under this ledge like without trying to paint and they're just sitting there, like you know that their goal is to shark. They're hoping that no one tries to check for them, and when they start dropping down, they're going for the punish. So you want to like play into that idea. This is a way that you can work with your teammates without actually being able to like talk with them, you know? It's like you can play off their ideas. If this person wants to sit over here and look for an opportunity to push, swing out wide. Force these people to start fighting you, and then they can swing around this way, or they can like jump up and look to push. There's a lot of things that like y'all can play off of each other. And you don't even have to necessarily push. You can just kind of sit here until they like force to do something, or they like pop a special or something, and then you can like back out. But there's ideas where we can like work with our teammates, and anytime that you can like there isn't a best practice for this. In an ideal world, like if you and Zap are trying to shark the sledge, ideally the Zap's going to move out because they have suction bombs, they can get more paint, and they can't do as good of a job as you on Wiper to watch these ledges. But when they've already committed to this first, like my general rule is like just let them do whatever they're trying to do and just try to help them out. But when y'all are going for the exact same play, like it can like there's a chance that both of y'all die over here, and like in this spot y'all both die over here. And even though you can't communicate to your teammates, you should be able to whenever your teammates are doing anything, if you're like actually like paying attention, you should have a good understanding of like what they're trying to accomplish, like what their overall goal is with like whatever it is that they're doing. Even if you've never played with them, even if you don't know what's happening, if you're observant, you should be able to start figuring out that information. So if you can't, I would have that be an exercise when you're playing like open or playing X rank or playing whatever. Just think about those things and see if you can improve, because that helps overall. Because the other thing about positioning is that we don't want to leave like we want to avoid gaps in our formation. Oops. That looks like a 9. Avoid gaps in formation. And again, you can't communicate with your teammates and say, hey, I'm going this way, you play over here, or oh, you come over here, play with me. You can't do that in Splatoon, for better or worse. And so we just have to know. And that's why, like, if we're playing on this left side for most of the game, and then we see like 3 of our teammates setting up over here, if you bunch up with them, like at the very end, we had 4 people. We had 4 people like focused on the right side of the map. And they had a stamper that was dropping out. They end up using their special. And then they had a splash, which I think probably got picked by the ballpoint. They end up getting picked before this play develops. But if we don't get this pick, like there's a chance that they have 2 people that are like basically like for free getting toward the zone. And not that they take the zone, because y'all probably can react to it and stop them from taking the zone altogether, but they can start contesting it, and then it just like it puts y'all in a very awkward situation. But there was a couple of situations where y'all left like very giant gaps in the formation. And again, it's not just solely your responsibility, but you can only control what you can control. And if you see people committing to like they're bunching up and they're committing on one side of the map, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to play either centrally, like either play more towards center, or you can even potentially play back here, but like play in this like center part of the map, so that if you need to play over, like if you need to help over here, or if you want to get shots into this area and shots up here, you can do that. But if you need to rotate, like you can get behind this box, you can drop down here if you need to, you can play, you know, like you can swing all the way over here if you need to. But at least if you can play centrally, you can rotate to any side of the map like a little bit easier. But we need to keep the team's formation a little bit more in check, because we left open a lot of areas and we don't want to necessarily we don't ever want to put ourselves in a situation where an entire side of the map is like exposed. For other game modes like, you know, Clan Blitz, TC, Rainmaker, like depending on how like the certain part of the match that we're in, like if tower's pushing, like on this map, if we get past first checkpoint, and this isn't TC, this is zones, but if tower's like over on this side, then I'm not worried about people flanking this way because it's just very slow, and we're gonna get a bunch of points while they're going for that funny flank. So in that situation, it's fine. But when zone's sitting over here, we need to be like conscious of both sides of the map, unless we know that they're not pushing one side. Like if we know that they're committing as a team, like they're all four committing to this side, then it's okay to not worry about this, and then we can overload this side. But we had the information that they were pushing from both ways, and we had the information that are like of where our teammates wanted to set up, and we had the opportunity to be a little bit more flexible. So that's something that I would just actively look to try to do whenever you can. But again, overall, very, very good stuff. I've seen your wiper before. It's very solid. Also, Taco Jones, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope you're doing well. Hopefully your team wins. And yeah, again, y'all did a very good job this game, and stats reflect that, so. Nice stuff. But again, there was a lot of stuff that we didn't necessarily get punished for in this match, but we're leaving little gaps in our game that can potentially be exploited against higher quality opponents. So we want to do everything we can to like shore that stuff up. But thank you for the replay, and good luck on the grind. I think Rally was looking for a competitive team. I know they've been playing with a whole bunch of different people, which is good experience within itself, but yeah, definitely good luck with wherever you end up calling home, whatever team you end up finding. I wish all the best of luck, and I'm sure we'll see you in tournament at some point. And also welcome in, Sons. Let me catch up with chat real quick, because I kind of missed some stuff while I get through all this. So you see. Okay. Alright, so there's some lore. We're gonna have a little bit of story time before this next one. So I'm gonna punch in the code, and then I'll catch up with chat, and then we'll get into like some story time. Which I'm excited for. Wait, download the code. And so this is Lily Gravy Bread. They are a streamer. So if you don't already follow them, definitely follow them. They are Australian time, so if by chance you are from Australia, their streams probably work well with you. But sometimes I'm able to catch them, sometimes I can't. But they've been doing a lot. They're working, you know, obviously streamer. They've been doing a lot of commentary recently and have done a very good job on some, just, you know, a whole bunch of tournaments that I've played in and I've been watching. But yeah, Lily the streamer. Yeah. For sure. But they're also just a very awesome personality. They've been doing some kind of recaps of Low Ink, which I think is really, really cool. And they've been getting on different like hosts and stuff to kind of work with them on that. So they're working on a whole bunch of different projects. And in general, they're just a very like positive person when it comes to the community as a whole. They're trying to do stuff, trying to, you know, make the community better, and just always have a very like bright, positive kind of outlook at everything. So I always appreciate the vibes. So anyone that has the good vibes, I love to promote. And Lily is wonderful. So Anyways, let me catch up with chat and then I'll go through the story time of this and then we'll get into it. Also, before I get into story time, let me just update this real quick. Yeah, if anyone has like stories, you know, like, not that you have to like make up a story for anything, but it, you know, the more context that we have, I'm into it. I think this was open. I think this was like a team, basically. Or like people that we play with consistently. So open, and this was a trio. Yo, what's up, Jamie? I'm doing well. Not too bad. Oh yeah, how was the did y'all go Team Strawberry, I think? I think I heard X-Ray saying that he went Strawberries so that he could play in Silly Comp. So good luck, good luck. Yeah, Fizzy said I had no trouble with mint and strawberry in terms of like ink color. Oh, I need to change I need a color lock. That's true as well. Just because back to normal. Oh man, the ranked games. We love to see it. Actually love to see it. Prepping for orientation. Nice. Good luck, good luck. That's super exciting. Probably a little bit scary, a little bit nervous, but definitely best of luck on all the education. My eyes were so tired trying to differentiate. Might have been my screen settings since it looked darker on my phone screen. Yeah, no, I had a tough time when it came to the vanilla stuff, so you're not alone. Can't stand looking at bright colors or else my eyes and head will hurt. For sure. And I think like all like the nightlight stuff, like it looked really pretty, but it like, I don't know. It was tough on my head and tough on my brain. I've had that happen. Oh, the body blocking? Yeah. No, there's so much body blocking and so many, like there's so many games that I remember where the outcome was changed from getting body blocked or from body blocking someone else. But I feel like I've generally gotten better as a player because it just doesn't happen as much. Always rolled behind my teammate by accident. Feels bad. There's a few Splatfest ones, at least. Or at the end. Oh, yeah, for the reviews. Too stupid for table turf. I want to. There's been some good guides that have came out, but I want to like analyze the meta. Like I really want to get into a card game, and it would be so nice if just Splatoon had like a rank system around their own card game. And then they had some tournaments, but again, I'm not interested in tournaments without like a ladder and like a developing meta and stuff. Which it just comes from like, there's some people that are used to like card games and stuff being like, you know, playing at your local card game shop or something. But I don't know. I've only played card games like digitally. So I'm used to like having a giant ladder to grind. I'm used to having a bunch of like YouTube resources in terms of like deck guides and matchup guides. I would love to do that in this community specifically because I think it would be a nice example to help emulate what we can be doing in the actual PvP side of competitive. Yo, what's up, Lily? Hello, hello, hello. And thank you for the shout out. I'm catching up with chat now, but we'll be getting into it here momentarily. When I play against Big Man, I know he's going to use his own cards every time. Battle gets too predictable. Yeah, that part of it too. Like, I do think that, like, for what the AI is, I think they did a good job with a lot of the lore. Like, they implemented lore with the cards themselves, which I think is like really neat and like an awesome little detail with a lot of the battles. But yeah, there's definitely not a lot there. And even having to grind to get all the different card sleeves is just like, it just seems super boring. IMO. But I'll do it if I can, at least for the ones that I want. I would do it if I can use them in a ranked ladder system. Alright, I think we're good. You're on Hydra at one point. Ape fighting Hydra. Hydra is definitely very scary. Alright. So, quick story time before we get into it. So, incredibly common opponents on stream, interested in learning how I and the viewers can beat them. Many matches I've had against them tend to start off with us having a lead, then the enemy team recovers and they're able to like flip the game around on us. Even the others I was playing with noticed from previous experiences against them. Blaze is one you talk. I like that. There's a conversation with all of it. So the opponents are very sweet. I found that a lot of times their group ends up playing against high level competitive players, which they struggle against. So seeded Division 2 in the Oceanic Series 9. Comparable around Div Ludi 5 or Ludi Div 5. Long time ago, players have grown since then. Yeah, for sure. So basically, we play against these people quite a bit, and we are looking for what can we do to turn the tide? How do we start winning against these opponents? So we're gonna do a little bit of a deeper dive into the enemies as well as like ourselves. So little things that we can find that, you know, to exploit that their team is potentially failing to do. We can look at it from that way as well, which is interesting because it's something we've never really done. So yeah, we'll start going through it. But again, I always appreciate the story, and Lily submitted one of the reviews that got lost in the patch in the past was another one of these games against these people. So I was so sad because it's like, oh man, I don't know if you'll like, I don't know the next time that you'll be able to like find them again in just like a random open match. But apparently Lily was able to find it, and we have a code that we can use now. So I'm excited to get into it, and yeah. So love the lore. We are playing TC on the Mahi, which is a very interesting map mode. Very, very interesting. And we are the 52 over here. So when looking at comps, like we have a very, let's say a pretty solid comp. I think having like some semblance of range on this map is like really nice. When you're playing on defense, like holding up here and not having to commit to any of these fights is very nice. So like having ballpoint, even having like K-Pro is nice for our comp. And we also have like wall is really nice, especially on this little choke point on both sides. Like we can kind of like push through and hold ground with wall. Wall's also really nice when the fight starts happening on this side of the map, where we can flank around this way and get a wall down, or we can push up this way and get a wall down, and like establish ground a little bit. This map's very small, so survivability is really important. And the same thing goes for our T-Tech, where having a splat bomb helps punish people on this map, because again, there's not a lot of places to move. And a lot of times you can generally like, you'll find people like sitting behind like certain cover. There's a whole lot of cover on this map that if they're not sitting behind it, they're just like sitting out in the open over here. And then as you continue to push up, it's like people don't usually sit behind this area, but it is there. Playing over here and just playing on these ledges. So our comp doesn't have a bunch of great ways to punish them outside of bombs, but we do have like good specials. Like our specials are very solid. Between Tri-Strike, Whale, Booyah Bomb, Inkjet, like we have a lot of good ways to displace people that are sitting behind cover. So overall, I like our comp quite a bit. We're playing against Aggro Wiper, V-Wiper, which we just watched. Squiffy, which I actually think is kind of interesting on this map. And especially for TC, like Bubble and Tower is still very solid and very annoying. Slosher does a good job, which is what I was saying before, of playing over these ledges and attacking the enemy team. So it's a little bit scary for us. And same thing with Blaster. Like, peening on this map isn't quite as important as it might be on other maps because it's just so small. It's like, even though our comp paints more, like it is a nice advantage, but it isn't as relevant in this mode. Like this map mode specifically. But both teams should be solid. It'll matter a little bit more when the map opens up and there's all of this extra like land on the map. Because being able to paint and check for these areas is very important as the later the match goes on. Overall, I think our comp's solid. We just have to be careful. My biggest concern when looking at comp versus comp is getting ledge camped by honestly any of these weapons, but all three of these do a pretty decent job at it. And we need to be really good and very prepared with our specials because bubble can definitely be like a problem. So we'll get into it and see how things go. But again, we'll watch from Lily's perspective. We'll look at it from their team perspective, and we'll try to do a little bit of extra analysis on what the enemies are doing. Yo, what's up, Riku? Hello, hello, hello. Well, welcome in. Hopefully you had a nice Splatfest. Also, wait, Lily, what team did you choose for the Splatfest? I'm interested, because probably after this review we'll get results. And I know some people that picked all the different teams, so someone will be happy. Everyone else will be upset. Mint chip, nice. Let's go. So again, at the beginning of this match, you're playing around that right side because you have a wall. Very good. You're able to help clean up with your team. Yeah, you're doing a great job of being able to clean up here. Nice job. One thing I will mention with the opening, which part of it I want to look at from a higher level of view, but I think there's more opportunities. Like getting this whale or the splash wall out at the beginning is like very solid because you couldn't safely sit here otherwise. But I think as this play continues to develop, I think there's more opportunities for us to get more splash walls down to give us some potentially advantageous fights. So I like that you see this person committing to shots. When Slosher starts firing their shots, they get, you know, like they leave themselves in an opening because it takes some time for them to be able to like get out of the animation of that slosh and like be able to reposition. They're very slow and vulnerable if you're able to get underneath them. So very excellent timing when like pushing through there. There is a chance that we could potentially push this Squiffer, but I don't hate this idea. As you start moving this way, you cut off this angle from the Squiffer, so it's like it's fine. And I think on the scared of Wendell for real, yeah, good Squiffers are always very scary. But I will say, I would have your teammate over here, which it's very easy to get overwhelmed on this map, but I would probably play a little bit farther back here. At the very least, play behind this pillow, but like you can look to play like back here and just kind of keep paint in front and like just keep bombs so that they can't push through. but just hold our position. Because if you look at the way that our team is structured, like we're watching this area, and it's a lot easier for us to support this versus like supporting this type of side. So like based off of the way that we're playing, which I think this general structure is totally fine. But this is like the weaker side, and if you're playing the weaker side, you just have to be mindful that that you are the weaker side, and you're probably going to get pushed. It's like playing Mako on the left stack. Like when we watched the Mako game last time, like a lot of times the enemy team will push especially if they have a bucket of some sort, like a tri-slosh or a sloshing machine or a slosher. If they have tools that can deal with ledges very well, they'll just kind of try to bully that area. And a similar thing's going to happen here. This is our weaker side, so they need to put themselves into a position where they can like always back out. They just want to slow this down. They're never going to get these types of picks unless you just like completely diff them. But in most cases, you're not going to get these picks. You just want to like prevent them from being able to like flank around effectively. So hold them in place. If they do, for whatever reason, push through, then like your teammates should be able to help. But just kind of hold position until we get specials at the beginning. But again, you do a good job of being able to continue to stay alive. This is the first, we'll go back to your POV, but this is like one of the first spots where I think you could have gotten a wall down. Like right here, I'd probably throw a wall, bounce it off of this, and effectively like be on this side of it, and you can watch anyone that's dropping down, and you have like an easier time with this play. Like they end up going after your teammate, you acknowledge that, and then you start pushing them. So like this is good, but it's not a bad habit to like get into, just to like continuously like keep yourself safe. Again, this is another scenario where if you want to push up, like if you're gonna push, I wouldn't push through this area. So if you just want to hold this type of position, then this is another spot where you can just throw down a wall and just kind of hold. But if you wanted to like aggress on this person, then I would either like potentially move this way. Not that you can really flank around, because by that point their team's gonna start trickling in. But yeah, I would just be careful of leaving these opportunities up. I've played against so many squiffers, and like a lot of times they just kind of hit those. But really good job staying in squid form for that. And again, if we are gonna go for this type of play, we should start it off with our wall. Like realistically, the timing windows on like this whole play, there's been a lot of rotating, a lot of moving around. We should start expecting them, like, because if you're moving into this type of position, either you're looking to cross over this way, or like maybe you try to hold this type of position. In either of these decisions, there's a good chance that there's going to be someone up here that can jump on you. So you want to make sure that you get that wall down so that you have some cover. There's so much just open space on this map that it's really important. Walls have been my weakness. Yeah, it definitely takes time. It's something that you need to practice, and especially on like TC, like throwing walls on tower, it's like map specific, because there's little tricks that you can do, but sometimes the physics on the walls bouncing are very tough. But Pika Dave has on their YouTube channel, they have a really good video on walls. It was back in Splatoon 2, but I think almost all of it carries over. But in general, if you watch other players that use walls, just look at the little things that they do in terms, like, it's usually easiest to like bounce it off of a wall if you want to have the wall be like very close to you. But it is something that like, it takes a lot of practice. I don't play a lot of wall weapons, so sometimes I'll play 52 in certain scenarios, and I've been playing Squeezer just for fun at certain points. And getting value out of wall is definitely, it's tough. It's definitely a skill that you'll continue to develop. Nice job. When we are pushing like this, I would be a little bit careful. Like, I'm okay with us continuously moving and just trying to beat them getting a shot off on us. But in this type of position, the first thing that I would recommend is like, if they're gonna like get into position and look to fire a shot, during this time, you can keep moving until they commit to this type of jump, and it makes your life easier to like actually get this pick. There is a little bit of a risk, because if you give them that first shot, So in Splatoon, if you're moving, you're generally like the more you're moving, the harder you are to hit on average. But if you're gonna poke out like this, if you notice that your first shots aren't hitting, and again, this is a skill we'll continue to kind of develop, but you have a ton of paint around you, like you're pushing with your paint, which is nice. But I would look to kind of strafe in these situations. Because like as we continue, in order for us to get this kind of pick, we have to, like, this person has to basically miss. Because we missed our first couple of shots, so by the time we get 2 more to hit, they're gonna get exploded. But again, overall, I like the play and I like our general consistency. The fluidity, I think was the right word. Like, we're generally fluid with, like, we're continuing and committing to this play, which I like. But the other thing that I'm seeing is, like, after we get this pick, we're on like a specific timer, and like turning our back to everyone over on this side and turning our back to chase this person is very dangerous. And I think our pathing is a little, it's overly risky, because you can either push this way, or you can also like push this way, or like use tower and push this way. The route that you end up taking leaves you vulnerable to people that are coming out of spawn. But if you take different routing, that again, you use the little ramp here in mid, and if you push through tower or you jump over or whatever, you're no longer exposed to this person, and you can still get to these people that are jumping on your team. So just being a little bit mindful of that type of pathing. In general, it's hard to describe, but you often want to avoid just like leaving your back exposed to common places that the enemy team's going to be coming from. So just be careful about it. People do this a lot when they are climbing. Like if they're climbing a wall on the enemy side of the map, like Sturgeon is a really good example, where sometimes people will like win fights in the enemy team pit, and they start climbing up to their snipe, and like while they're climbing up to the snipe, they have their back turned to the enemy team. And in general, it's just like, it's a very risky maneuver if there's a chance that anyone's on the enemy team is going to be over there. So if we find ourselves in that situation, we need to try to do our best to avoid that altogether. But your teammates do a good job of cleaning up, and ooh, nice pick on the blaster. Ouch. So for this checkpoint, I like the place that you end up positioning over on the left side, because again, you can get this pressure safely because you have a wall. So I would probably throw a wall here, but we don't need to like push over here. Like, y'all get a pick, just chill here. Just plan a splash wall and just hold. Because like the second checkpoint's gonna be over here. And the enemy team, like all the shots you were firing before, that's where the enemy team is going to want to push you anyways. So I know it feels weird to like just sit in one spot, but this is similar to the Umami Clams game that we saw a couple days ago. But if you're already in a position that's very strong, you don't have to feel like you have to keep moving. Sometimes it can feel awkward, but it goes back to like being confident in like your strategy when playing the map. And like the first 2 checkpoints are like over here and over here. And you sat over here to help with the first checkpoint, which is really good. But like this is a very important spot to hold as a team. Because if you can hold this and get a splash wall down, the enemy team has to stay up here. And that gives opportunities for your ballpoint to make plays. It gives opportunities for your K-Pro to make a play. It gives opportunities for your T-Tech to throw bombs in this area. You know, get a bomb behind this cover. And like these people have a really hard time to deal with that second checkpoint. Do I resend a replay if no one sees forgets to review it? Did one of your reviews not get seen? I go through them in order, so I shouldn't miss anything. If I did miss it, then Oopsie. If I did, let me know when, but I don't know if I missed anything so far. Because yeah, Sea is upcoming. So we'll definitely get we're on our way. K-Pro to make a play. I mean K-Pro's still a really good weapon, but it's tough. Because yeah, when we rotate, and this is what we're talking about in the previous review, if we start rotating this way, then we just leave a giant hole in our formation. Which, to be fair, if our ballpoint is trying to hold tower, like they can use their range to hold this area, but the bigger problem is that you pushing through this way also leaves you open to anyone that's over here. So just take it slow. We're in a good position to hold for the second checkpoint, so just, you know, keep it going. Because our teammates are overcommitting to this raid side, which matters less and less the more they move back. And we're not as focused on the objective as we could be. Yo, what's up, Zaya? Thank you for the lurk. Welcome in, welcome in. And best of luck on your Splatfest team in 49 minutes. Oh no, we hate to see it. It happens to everyone. We do get the checkpoint though, so that's good. Yeah. Back in Splatoon 2, I had a counter for every time I fell into the water because it was such a frequent occurrence. So when we come out of this spot and we do see the Squiffer for a brief moment, I'd be careful about continuing this type of push because you're going to find yourself against a Wiper and a Squiffer that outrange you. And again, this map doesn't have a lot of cover. Like we're kind of pushing him into open cover, and it's just not going to be a good opportunity for us. So if we wanted to, we could have like played around this side of the wall and just slowed it down for our teammates to get there. But the other thing that we can do is like, you know, back up a little bit, get this splash wall down, and then we have cover for ourselves to like get paint in these areas. Because if we can, like, even if we can't necessarily, like, we don't have a weapon that can hit them if they're sharking directly underneath the ledge. But if we paint behind them and we paint around them, like, these people get stuck. And then that's where our teammates can come in from another angle, or like this ballpoint can probably hit them from over here, and we're chilling. Sure, you heard the news. Uh-oh. What's up, Rick? And welcome in, welcome in. I'm not sure what the news is. Hopefully it's fun news. Because yeah, if you're sitting in this spot and you have a splash wall down, we're chilling. I'm totally fine with you taking this type of play. Because you're effectively just stalling. And these people, if they want to continue to shoot shots at you or try to break your splash wall in this type of situation, then it gives your teammates like these people are also sitting out in the open and they don't really have a lot of cover. All they can do is like drop behind this ledge, which gives them a little bit of cover from people over here on the left side, but it's still a very dangerous spot for them to be in. But one thing you can do as a 52 is like throw the wall down in front of you and just kind of just stall for time. Good and bad. Uh-oh. I don't know if I don't think I know the news. Oh, wait, y'all disbanded? That's unfortunate. Hopefully it was in relatively good terms. Made a silly little pickup group. Nice. That's good to hear. At least y'all ended on like a high note, you know? Respect that. But I'm definitely best of luck to you and everyone else on your team. Like I think y'all are all very talented players that have been grinding and climbing a lot recently. So I'm sure wherever all of y'all land, y'all will continue to level up. Try new things. I gotcha. I can totally understand that. Yeah, definitely good luck. So who's on like your pickup? But yeah, when we get the splash wall out, which again, this goes back to like getting comfortable with splash walls. Like we can throw the splash wall off of this cover and bounce it so it lands over here. Or if we look, if you look down, so like if you look at your camera and like look down, so you're like looking at the ground, your splash walls will go farther, and if you look up, your splash walls will be shorter. So sometimes you can use that as well. Often using cover makes a little bit more sense, but yeah, same people from Tactifuelers, just not as an official team. Oh, gotcha. I see. That's a sick name though. Yeah, definitely best of luck. Hope things go well. But yeah, no worries, Soup. We'll definitely get to it. There was one that I was doing because there was like a French championship that was going on this weekend. So I wanted to get to it before they before that actually like happened and transpired. But no, we'll definitely get to it. I don't know if we'll fully be able to get to it tonight because I've been a little bit under the weather, so I haven't been able to stream quite as long as I'd like to over the last couple of days, but we'll definitely get to it over the next couple of days. Yeah, we leave these little windows open for a good Squiffer to hit those, and they seem like a good Squiffer that's gonna hit those. And this is where we can start snowballing. It's like a lot of times in a lot of modes, but especially on this map mode, little mistakes can add up to like really big consequences. And one of the worst things we can do, like as a team, we'll look at this from like your whole team's perspective. Tactifueler light. Let's go. So the worst thing that can happen is like if the enemy team uses either no specials or use like maybe like one special, like in this case they only use like their bubble, which isn't even like the highest value. It is good in TC in certain spots, but it's not even their highest value special. But the fact that they use one special and get like 2 or 3 picks, it makes it so hard for you all to play defense after, because they're gonna have like a bunch of specials afterwards to punish you all. So really good initial pick from your BP. And again, if we just stall this, BP and T-Tech can get into positions either over here or they can rotate over here. And like, you know, if y'all are holding this down, they can flank in from the left side and kind of clean up these plays. And that's how we want to see a lot of kind of team situations is, you know, someone holds from one position and then the other people push in from another way. Or BP can also just sit up here and like kind of hit them. But sometimes just slowing the game down can definitely help. Because right now y'all are either just use specials or like two of you have about like half special. So we kind of need to like slow it down. The other nice thing about stalling is that it gives you more time to like build your specials. So if you're able to stall with a wall, like either you can potentially get whale over time, or like you can get a tri-strike and y'all can push with that. Because like these little like fights and stuff seem relatively inconsequential, but if you aren't using all of your resources as well as you could, you know, if you had a bomb, you could potentially displace them with a bomb. If you have, you know, with splash wall, you can throw a splash wall in front of you. But if we just take picks and we just randomly kind of go down, you know, kind of outside of like an objective play or them using their specials to push in, then it makes it so that they can have a massive, like it goes from like, oh, they're going to continue to push to like, oh, there's going to be a massive push. And like this play, and like your T-Tech is making like the right, like they have the right idea about how to help if y'all can hold the front part down. But now this goes from a flank with y'all holding this area But once y'all go down, and again, like the Squiffer makes a really nice play on their team. But once y'all go down, this person is no longer in like a good spot. They're now like effectively useless. Because them pushing over here, like these people aren't stuck. They can just kind of keep moving forward. So it's a lot easier to have to deal with someone that's from behind. And like I said before, they now have multiple specials, but we do have a tri-strike. Unfortunately, I think we panic a little bit when we try to use a tri-strike, and that causes us some issues. Also, aka, is it Emma? I think, Emma. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so now we're in a little bit of a tough spot, and yeah, I can't blame you too much. This is a difficult situation for you all to be in. I would be careful about backing up. Like it's very micro movements, but be careful about how we're positioning here. Because as a shooter player, probably the best advice I can give for shooter players, especially when you're in this kind of position, is that you want to try your best to play around ledges whenever possible. Hello, hello, welcome in, Emma. Hope you are doing well. Hopefully, what team did you choose for the Splatfest? You should be getting the results in about 35 minutes. But the best advice I can give for shooter players is like play around ledges. That's one thing that I see top shooter players in Japan do that I think us in the West could do a lot better of. And so how do we play around ledges here? Vanilla? You want 100x in the latest hours? Oh no, that could be the difference. I wouldn't mint Chip, but I do think Vanilla's probably going to win it. But congrats on the 100x. So in order to play around ledges here, there is, like, you can drop off of this ledge. Like, this object is a ledge. We can drop this way. We can place ourselves up here and just sit on this ledge, and then we can either swing right or swing left. You know, we can push behind like this ledge, and then we can swing out left over here. And like backing out isn't bad. Like backing out this way isn't too bad. But if you're behind this ledge over here, they can't hit you with the shot if you're in squid form. Versus, you know, they make a really good play. But the fact that you're just kind of sitting out in the open, it gives them an open opportunity to be able to take a shot and hit it, which, again, they're hitting their stuff. So whenever you're in these types of situations, and like you are marked, so it's like, it's a little bit scary, it's a lot of extra pressure. But just try to position yourself closer to ledges. Like right now, you're positioned in the middle of this entire object. And it's often a part of people's games that they just don't even realize. When I watched it, like as one of the biggest things, whenever I watch like Kuro play, like they play around ledges and small objects. Same thing with Melon. They both do an incredible job playing around objects, and you will never see them in this type of position for like more than half a second or something. Not even like a fraction of a second. It's not that they'll never sit in the middle, or it's not that they'll never be in the middle, but they'll never sit here. Like firing shots here is just very dangerous. And it's one of those things that like you never really get punished for it, so it's not something that people really think about. I never think about this stuff until I started watching other people, and they would, you know, I would guess that they'd probably play around this ledge, but if they're going for an aggressive play, they'd play over here. If they're playing for a more passive play, then they'd probably drop over here, and then they like, because you can drop down here and then jump back up if you need to. That's one thing as a shooter player, you have insane mobility. But in order to continue to keep yourself alive, if you drop down here, it gives you options. I can swing all the way left, I can jump on top of this block, I can jump back up here. But we never want to catch ourselves in the middle of all of these different decisions. When we sit in the middle of it, it leaves us open. And once they do decide to poke out one way, or if they poked out over here, I don't know if, I don't think they can climb up here. I think that's unpaintable. But, from whatever place they're going to be, or even if there's someone up here, like if this team doesn't really have something to punish us, like let's say they had a ballpoint up on the tower, like it'd be the same type of situation where like we're just kind of stuck out in the open. So it's hard to remember. It takes some time, but always try to, especially when you're like shooting and you're committing, because like every time you shoot a shot, you slow down, especially with like 52 and 96, you like really slow down for a shooter, and you're committing to those shots. So whenever you're committing, try to find yourself as close to a ledge as possible. And it'll help you out really well. And that's one like drill that I would recommend. I do it in Recon a lot, especially when I have trouble with certain maps. Is like I'll sit in Recon and like I'll paint up on, like I'll paint this ledge, and I'll try to just be very tight with my movement of like climbing on this ledge and then dropping off and then climbing on the ledge and then dropping off and then climbing up, and like just getting comfortable with that back and forth movement. Same thing here. You can like jump up here. You can drop this way and then jump back up this way. Like there's a lot of different ways you can play it, but especially for like I would say like this is like half. I call these like dot blocks, but this isn't a dot, it's like a small rectangular, but this is like half the height of like a normal block. And these half height blocks, you can do a small jump, like a small hop, and you can get on top of this block, which allows for very nice movement. Especially with inkable, because you can like main strafe off of these if they're inkable, but even if they're not inkable, you can still jump off on them easily, and then you can drop off of them. A little bit slower because you don't have ink, but nonetheless, these half blocks are like, this is like a full-size block over here. Like you can't jump onto this, you have to swim up on it. But all of these like half blocks, like all of mid on this map is like a half block height. And all of these you can get with like, you can jump on and off with like small jumps. So it's a good thing to keep in mind. And once you are comfortable with that movement, it opens up your mobility in a lot of the different maps. But again, really good stuff from their team is, you make little mistakes, their team is hard punishing, so definitely kudos to them. I saw a lot of 100x and 33x battles won by Vanilla. Interesting. That'd make it hard for Squiffer to reach me when I'm really close to the cover anyways. Yeah, for sure. And that's what playing around ledges like allows you to do. It allows you to cut off angles like very fast. And when you watch like very high level players, you'll notice that in their gameplay. It's something that like no one talks about, but it's like crucial. If you watch again like top JP players, they're always doing it. Always, always, always. It's super impressive, and like I didn't notice it until I noticed it. And I noticed it once, I'm like, okay, no, I see it. Like every time I watch them play, I always see it, basically. But no, you're totally right. Moving closer to the wall will definitely cut off their angle. They have to like full commit and swing around all the way in order to hit you. And if they do try to go for that kind of swing, you can visually see it and look to move early from it all. Guy, you nervous? I don't think I've gotten a times 333 at all in this game. Maybe I'll aim to do that on stream for like a next Splatfest. Like maybe I'll actually play the Splatfest and like try to aim for times 333. Could be fun. Because you have to like get a bunch of shells and stuff. I gotta do recon more. It definitely helps. But again, like you have to know what you want to do to get value out of recon mode. It's hard to like just open up recon mode and be like, oh, it's time for me to practice. Like if you don't know what you're practicing, it's tough. And that's where like watching other players, like, these reviews, hopefully I can give you some ideas of stuff that you can practice. It's hard to notice that being in the middle of an object is like a mistake, But it's something that I've noticed that I've tried to work on. Like watching Kiver. Yeah, Kiver is so cool. I love Kiver. I love Kiver especially because yeah, he does a lot of like recon stuff. Reach vanilla ruler +2, nice. I think I only got to ruler. +4, holy. Usually go ruler. That's what I was passionate about, or real. Oh my top ice cream. Oh no. I guess right on time, you know? Think I'm getting mirror matches? Oof. Oof. Want to be in a 4-stack to do it for the yeah, I would have to like be prepared for it. But it could be a fun idea. I'd be interested. Yeah, and at this point we're just like we have to find a way to like get back with our team. Like stay alive long enough for our teammates to get together and start cleaning all these fights up. Yeah. Nice move there. I'd probably try to be a little bit faster on like getting to the ground and repositioning, especially against a blaster. Like blasters are effectively like a Dark Souls boss almost, where like they have very predictable openings, and you want to do your best to try to time your moving to their like very predictable attacks. Really nice playing. Sheesh. Oh yeah. We have to be careful about just throwing walls like that. Like being out in the open and throwing the wall. And this is where I don't know exactly how much you need to be able to do it. So, sorry. When you're in this spot, I think if you look down, I have to actually test it, but I think if you look down and throw this wall, I think that extra height prevents you from having to jump. I can't confirm, I'd have to like test it. But I like the idea of getting a wall out, but like you can look down and do that. The other thing that you can do is like use this cover as a wall, you know, like push up to here because it's effectively like you have a wall. And then if they're like looking to take a shot, you can reposition after they shoot a shot. And then you can like swing around, but you can have different ideas. You don't even have to necessarily push this person, but yeah, it takes some time for the wall to be active, and it's a very common punish. I get punished a lot when I play 52 because I just expect it to be active faster. Cover important, yes. Cover very, very important. Especially as a shooter player that has the capability to like move in and out of cover very fast. Nice. So our team gets multiple picks. I'd like to see us move forward and start pressuring. We'll let this ride out, and I'll jump back to that because there was a little bit of a pivotal moment there, and I just want to talk through it. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. I think the drill also potentially helps you with not dying to the bomb there, but that's tough. That was a good bomb by them. But the big thing that I want to point out in this spot, it's like your teammate gets one pick, and then especially when you get the second pick, we have to, and again, this is something that you're not going to execute this perfectly the first time, but it's a habit that we just need to get into. When our team has significant numbers, even with one number, like even if it was a 4v3, but especially as a 4v2, we need to push. Like we have to move forward. And, you know, you can jump on top of the tower and move forward and like push this left side. You can jump right here and move forward. You know, you can go all the way over here and play like this flank over here. Any of these plays I'm totally fine with. Some of them, the more you do it, the more you can evaluate which ones are better in certain situations. Like you waste a lot of time climbing on top of the tower, so I probably wouldn't do that. And I would just jump directly this way, or I would go for this raid flank. But you can like sit here. If you can get a wall down, you can just sit in front of the tower with a wall. Again, move to this right side and get a wall down. But we need to like move forward. I feel like I'm unsure where I want to go. Yeah, for sure. It's because you haven't developed that that part of your game, you know? If you're doing something for the first time, like of course it's gonna be bad. It's like, remember the first time that like, I don't really do like art stuff, but it's like, you know, the first time I set up my stream, the first time I opened up a video editor, the first time I played Splatoon. But it's like the first time you do anything, it seems very scary and it's like, I have no idea what's happening. But the more repetition you have, it becomes like second nature kind of thing. And so, you know, if you push up here and you like just run at someone, take a fight and get splatted, I'm fine with that. But we need to get into the habit. Like, I mean, when we get to that point, I'll be like, we probably could have played, like we had a better chance of success if we did like something a little bit different. But anything moving forward, even if you immediately die, I like infinitely more than us like playing this kind of perimeter type of play. That's not really our role as a 52. Either we want to create the openings ourselves, and even in a 4v4, if we can find a little bit of an opening to wedge ourselves in and get a wall down, we should be doing that. But especially if we find picks and, you know, we're using like Booyah bombs and stuff to be able to start pushing with our team, we have to be in the front lines for those types of situations. And that allows us, like this opening that y'all create, this should almost be a KO, like almost certainly. But if not a KO, like y'all should be able to take lead pretty consistently here. And just to kind of like sort of follow through with this exercise. So if I'm you in this situation, I'm probably going to rotate this way just because we're all bunched up over here. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to alleviate pressure. And I know that if I can get over onto this right side, I can play underneath this ledge, get a wall over here, and I'm like super chilling. And like, you know, I can watch this area. I can see if they paint over here and look for that. But realistically, they're not going to go for that because tower's over here and like this wastes a lot of time and tower moves so fast in this mode. But if I sit over here, I can watch anyone that's coming out of spawn or potentially climbing this rail. And, you know, it's very quick for me to like push behind them. I can drop over this way. I can move over this way. I can just hold this position, rotate this way, get to tower if I need to. Like there's a lot of different options that you have. And so I'd move over here, and before I fully commit to it, I'd probably like just get some paint. I don't know if this person's here or not, but I would just, it's good practice just generally to get that paint. And when you'll have two down like this, you can afford, if you're immediate with your movement, so if you immediately are like, oh, two down, it's time for me to go, I'm gonna go for this flank. If you full commit to this and you're very like just very without thinking, are able to make that decision, then you can afford yourself like half a second, 2 seconds, maybe in certain spots to be able to like get this paint and just make sure that when you jump up, you're not going to get splatted. But even if you do like potentially die in this situation, like that's one less person that's watching the tower. But ideally you don't want to get splatted here, but yeah. And like we see this person, but like, and this is a thing about just committing to things. This person makes a huge mistake. Like they use their tri-strike, which seems like, you know, in your head, because it looks like you're going for this type of play. In your head, it's like, oh, they use tri-strike. I don't want to potentially get splatted by the tri-strike. But a more seasoned 52 player is going to say, oh, they tri-striked. That means like they're going to throw it at tower. I go in and punish them. And even if they do turn around and throw so if they throw their tri-strikes like at their own feet or throw it at this to prevent you from jumping forward, then those are tri-strikes that aren't going toward the tower. And instead of you being able to push this person, your K-Pro can now move in and punish this person. Like you'll have a really nasty pinch on this person. You just have to be able to commit to this play. And like I was saying before, this is again another like half block. And if you're comfortable with your movement, you should be able to jump onto this block really easily. You can jump off if you need to. You know, like if they do throw a tri-strike over here, you should be able to practice your movement and be able to like very quickly like main strafe off of this either way. But we have to at least like commit to this and put a lot of pressure on this person. We're not really putting pressure on them. So, it's like, I don't even know if they get spotted. Okay, so you do get them with your whale, but but you'll lose a lot of your pressure in front, kind of as a consequence of this. One thing I would say in this position, so when two of your teammates go down here, you're effectively, I feel like a cat trying to chase a laser pointer. Honestly felt. Honestly felt. So when two of your teammates are down here, it's effectively like this push is just dead. That's one thing that you want to try to get into the habit of, is like, if you know they have numbers, towers on their side of the map, this push is like, the push is over, but it's not really over. Like your team has control of mid, you're sitting in mid, back up, secure jumps for your teammates. You know, you can sit behind these walls. So you can sit like over here, you can sit, you know, you can sit all the way back here if you need to, but at least sit a little bit farther back so they can jump in safely. You know, you can even sit in mid and just like throw a wall down and they jump to you. There's a lot of different ways you can approach it. It just whatever you're most comfortable doing. And it also depends on how much space is in front of you. Because like right now you have a good amount of space in front of you, but yeah, like the chances of this cape rope surviving is effectively 0. So like we don't want to try to save them. We want to save the overall push by backing up and giving our teammates jumps. Because we should be able to do that pretty successfully, especially with a wall. But like trying to force and like help tower or like try to get back over there, it on average, it's just not going to work. In certain cases, this person might pop off, which like they get a pick, so crazy. But like they might be able to do it, but at the same time, we just want to establish those jumps for our teammates as more important. Even if we could push forward and it potentially gives us the lead, that happens so irregularly and infrequently that it's not worth going for this kind of risk. And so now your teammates jump, instead of being farther back in mid, very safe, now they're like over here and stuck. And even if you could get a wall down, it's probably going to get crushed by the tower. So, yeah. And then, you know, in all of the chaos and all the panic, we end up like landing on a bomb, which causes us some trouble. So there's a lot of little things happening there, but I think on average, we probably should be able to take lead if we just commit to something forward. And that's one thing you'll notice about yourself as a player is like, if you are able to very quickly and confidently go for those aggressive plays, it makes it harder for the enemy team to be able to respond to it. Like that's one of the like unspoken rules of Splatoon, is like if you do anything fast enough, like you'll often just get away with it. And that's why like a lot of time, like this game is so fast paced, it's hard to like hit people. If they're like moving very well, it can be like hard to hit people. So even if you don't make the best plays initially, because you need more repetition and exposure to playing that very aggressive role that is needed to get a lot of value out of 52, you'll still get away with a lot of stuff on average, and then it's up to you to kind of refine over time. But yeah, again, that's like where we want to commit. Like either we commit for the aggressive play to take lead, or like we're playing around mid. And if you're going to play around mid, you like have to guarantee that you're giving your teammates good jumps into mid. Because we're kind of like halfway and we don't really play aggressive all that well, and we don't really give teammates jumps all that well. And like we almost get lead, but that was a bit of a missed opportunity. Nice fall off. Noise. 3 down. So this is where you don't need to be painting right now. You want to use this time to all those different decisions I said before. Pick your favorite option currently and go for it. If you know where the blaster is, it can make it easier, because if they're playing like right now, they're like more central, so they, you know, they're trying to stay central so they can react to either. But if your teammates push, like again, I'd probably go right this way, just because if I push this way and my teammates push this way, one of us are getting through. My favorite's the left side. Left side's definitely the stronger side. Like left is the strong side, but pushing the weak side isn't bad either, because you have a wall. like if you don't push the right side in your like your overall comp, like who is, you know? I will say if you can get onto the left side, so if you're able to get onto the left side, if you can like be over here or like over here and get a wall down and be very annoying, then their whole team has to turn their back and like your T-Tech can just push through here. They don't need a wall or anything because no one's watching them. So like pushing left is totally fine. You know, it just whatever you're comfortable with and just mixing stuff up. If you can, whichever one you feel more confident sitting in, of like being here or being here, if you feel more confident in whatever situation to make it onto their plot, if you rather would take situation 1 or situation 2, I don't really care. Whichever one you want to do, both of these are very excellent and both of these will give you the lead. So whichever one you're more comfortable with, whichever one, you know, if you see the blaster like sitting like over here, then probably push the right side. If they're, you know, if you see them painting, like if they're sitting here and like getting a bunch of paint, then it's like, yeah, we just take left side. They did a pretty good job of like staying in the middle so that they can kind of cover both options. But yeah, whichever one you're most comfortable with, there's no wrong decision. You just have to find a way to break through. And that's where it gets into, I'm a left. It's in to feel more confident around the cover on the left side here. Yeah, no, for sure. Like there's a lot more cover. Like there's a lot of natural cover around all these spots. I mean, even jumping up here is a lot of cover. So because they're 3 down though, there is an option for you to be able to brute force this right side. But again, if you want to go left, that's totally fine. Again, if I watch like your next replay, you get 3 down or you wipe them and you're immediately taking their plot, I'm super smiling. I don't care how you do it, but as long as you're immediately attacking it without thinking and you're just, you know, as efficiently as possible, I'm just going to move forward. Like you don't have to waste time painting in these spots because we need to get into position. The paint can help in certain scenarios, but like let the rest of your team do it. Someone has to sit on the tower, let them like, you know, if you don't paint these areas, it allows them to like get special. And we don't have to worry about people sharking over here because if we're sitting up here, like they're not gonna shark. There could be someone that drops out left side. That is like a potential threat, but you know, if you're sitting up here, they're gonna want to put a lot of resources on you. Easier to see the team spawning in as well. Yeah, for sure. There's no wrong decision. Yeah, and again, that would be just an awesome time to push up. Oh, there's one behind. Nice. Okay, we want to push. Okay. We'll let this play out. Nice inkjet shot from your teammate. Ah, that Squiffer went crazy. That Squiffer had such a nice play. There's Squiffers high key popping off this game. So in this situation, you should be pushing. These people have to worry about the Booyah Bomb. Like, I'm fine with you using Whale, but you have to start committing. Even if you're scared to fully jump up and fully jump up again, start getting paint over here, start painting over here. Like, you know, give some information to your other teammates and then, you know, either they commit to you and then your teammates push in, or they don't commit to you and you can just get up here. But us holding mid, like, gives our team, like, not a lot of value. And this is, like, a timing thing. Because, like, tower's moving, we committed to a special, like, we have to be ready to go. And, like, the enemy team is very scared when Booyah bombs out. But again, if you want to play left side, that's totally fine. Unfortunate that this person, like, makes it through. Nice pick, though. So the one critical thing here... So in this situation, we don't want to play on the... Like, we can use the tower as bait. There's 52 seconds left. Like, everyone on the enemy team is focused on this. And they're focused to make sure you don't take lead. So don't play into the very obvious play that they're looking to deal with. You know, they want to hold on to their lead as much as possible, which I don't blame them. But flip that on them and, like, push this way. Like, push on the outskirts of this tri-strike and get behind them and like punish them for looking at the tower. If you feel uncomfortable doing this, then like play over here. Again, get a wall down. Maybe you give your teammates jumps. Like you can tell your teammates to, hey, like, you know, you can jump depending on the environment. But just try to be the more greedy player in this situation. It's not your role to touch the tower. If we get the picks, it's very easy to move the tower. But the picks are more important than like preventing the tower from moving back. Because anyone on your team is able to easily like pick up the tower. But we need to like hold control. So instead of like going for this play, if you're already playing over here, like you get a free pick here. And if you get that pick, you know, there might be someone else behind the tower and you can go for that. And then you can focus on the tower after that. And yes, the tower might be closer to mid, but like it's fine. If they're 3 down and you're all the way over here, like I'm confident that y'all get that. So we'll look at this really quick from a top-down view and just kind of show like what this would look like if how it played out. So unfortunate that that person gets through, but really nice job with the pick. And, like awesome awareness from your teammate here, but to just kind of chase down this person. But again, in the situation, if you start pushing this way, like there's a world where this person might potentially hit you, and I'm okay with that. That's a risk we have to take. But realistically, this person's probably going to be watching over here because they also want to have an opportunity to like stop the tower. Because yeah, you already see them like looking to position to help with that. Yeah, like you see they reposition, like they use that time to reposition because they know that they need to focus the tower. And so they know that their teammate can hit this part of the tower, like the right side, and they're trying to hold the left side angle to make sure that, you know, y'all can't squeak out a lead here. So instead of like focusing the tower and trying to touch the tower so it doesn't move backwards, if instead you push around and you target the Squiffer, and if you can splat the Squiffer, you probably can get a pick on this bucket before your Inkjet lands. But even if you can't get that, like you're still like an annoying thing in their base and they have to like worry about you. Your teammates can like swim in, like even if tower's like all the way back, even if it's sitting in mid, like your teammates can pick it up and start moving it pretty fast. They'll give a jump to your ballpoint that's likely to get splatted. But you know, you get this pick, and if you get this pick and you're sitting like here, even if you don't know what to do, you can still like, you know, you can play around this ledge over here and get a wall out. You know, you can push deeper in their base if you'd like to, but you're by yourself, so you have to play knowing that you're kind of by yourself in that situation. But you can cause chaos over here. You can look to potentially like spawn kill and just, you know, waste their time so your teammates can take mid for free. But that opens up more opportunities. Like, you know, that the fact that you're so desperate to get onto the tower should also indicate to you that the enemy is really desperate into watching the tower. And when this doesn't say overtime, if this says overtime, your play is totally valid and totally reasonable. But 39 seconds is a ton of time. Getting map control, getting into important areas first, it's so much easier to move the objective. Like if you get on the objective first and then you have to figure out how to find picks, that's where things get difficult. That's where you need specials. But if you can find those picks before you move tower, anyone on the team can jump on tower. But there's still time left. There's still a chance for us to be able to do something. We'll see how this goes. Again, this map's super snowbally. Once we find our in, we're good. Nice try, nice try. In another world, you hit those picks, you potentially get a double, and then you snowball the team. But I like that you have a relatively isolated fight that you take, and you know there's an opportunity for you to go for it. If you wanted to be more aggressive and just drop on the slosher, you could totally go for it. But you know, overall, I think that play's totally fine. Yeah, now they're just kind of. Are we able to stop? Yeah, it's probably Jeej. Yeah. Nice try though. overall, very, very solid stuff. Heartbreaking. There's like 2 attempts for y'all to almost take lead, and we almost had it and just weren't able to. But I think there was a lot of really awesome things to take from this game. So first, we're going to have a multi-phased approach to this. So I think in terms of you, so I'm going to say, like, Lily as a player, the first thing that we need to really focus on is like we have to be more aggressive. It's in our blood as a 52 player. Aggro. I'm just gonna say aggro like mind. I'm gonna say aggro mind is fine. I think any time where you have any sort of numbers advantage, like just practice like forcing. Force when your team has numbers. When you have a player advantage, you just have to get into the mindset of it. You're not going to have the perfect pathing. You're not going to have the perfect ideas. That's, you know, very understandable. It's very much to be expected. So don't worry too much about the result. This is where you don't want to be like results oriented, because it's very demoralizing to be like, you know, oh, I think there's a better way to do things. And like, if you're constantly dying and constantly getting stuffed, then it's like, oh man, that didn't work. I want to go back to when I was staying alive and like, you know, being like able to continue playing the game. But that's why it's important to get like an outside perspective, because yeah, you need to commit with 52. And like there was certain spots throughout the match that you committed and were great. Like I love this opening. I don't know if I have the courage to just drop down, throw a wall, I'm pushing past, and I'm just like taking a fight. Like that is the aggro mind that you need to get like comfortable with. I think specifically, like sometimes when your team has to be desperate, or sometimes in mid, I think you're a little bit more comfortable going for those types of plays. But whenever your team has an advantage, you like always get cold feet. And that we need to really expand our advantages. Like we should look for aggro opportunities whenever we can, but I can already see you trying to do it. But there's just certain spots where you hesitate. And we need to get out of the mentality of like, you know, oh, what happens if things go like bad or something, you know? Like, oh, I might throw the game if I mess up this play. Like I don't know mentally like where your brain is at with all of that. I'm not sure if it's nerves. I'm not sure if it's like just, you know, I don't know what I should do, so I'm not going to commit to anything. But it's much better to just get into the habit, just force yourself to move forward. It's probably not going to work out. Sometimes it'll definitely work out. Sometimes you'll get a double and you'll just get like an immediate KO. It's like, oh man, this is like great. And then sometimes you'll go in and like miss all your shots and it feels awful. And sometimes it's somewhere in between. You like get a good trade and like your team still continues the push. And it's like, oh yeah, this is pretty solid. But that's something that we need to like continue to move toward. Yo, what's up, Soda? Welcome in. Sometimes I notice when I have an advantage, I kind of chill too much. Yeah, no. This is the path of continuing to get better at the game. Whenever you watch, like, it's a common theme throughout a lot of like low level that people aren't looking to push their advantage. It's hard to explain the full rationale, because like I did it as well. Like it's just a thing. But like when you have an advantage, you feel like you're already powerful, if that makes sense. Like, oh, we got 2 picks, like we're in a good spot. And like it feels like we've done the work already. Which like, yeah, you've done the hard part, but like the easy part is like arguably even more important, of like taking the space. Because getting the picks are like, they're almost like setting you up opportunities. Like you have to take a risk to find those picks. So you like, take a risk, find opportunity, but you have to like cash out on the opportunity. Like when you get picks, it's like I don't know a good analogy, but imagine you have like a bunch of like money bags in your hand. Like you're like an evil villain or something, with just like running around with a bunch of money bags. And like you have to like be able to cash those in. If you just sit in mid with like a handful of money, it's not really gonna do a lot for you. You have to like move forward, take that space, and that's like your way of like cashing that in and getting value out of those picks. So you're not alone with this kind of thought, and it's very common. It's very common at every level of play. That's like part of like the scale of like going from like low, like new player to low level, getting to like high level, top level. The higher the levels go up, the more tight people are with, how much they're cashing in. Like every second, it's like you get a pick. So like let's say you get 2 picks. And imagine every pick that every splat you get is like $1,000. So you have like 1,000 plus 1,000. It's like, oh, I have $2,000. This is great. And you're sitting in mid. And it's like it's like you get these picks in mid and you're sitting, let's just say you're sitting like on tower somewhere. You're just like sitting in mid and you're in a 4v2. You're in goal, and this is going to depend on the map, but your end goal, like I said before, is like you sit over here, which this is elevated, I guess, whatever. You either want to sit up here with a wall or sit over here with a wall. And until you get to these positions, you lose, like it's like minus $100 like per second. It's like all of this value like is, you're slowly losing all of the value that you've achieved until you get to this spot. If you get to this spot in like 2 seconds, then $1,800. This is this is insane value. But if it takes you like 5 seconds to get over there, or these values don't scale all that well, but like, the lower the amount, the less full value that you get with all of this. So yeah, it's really important to like try to move up just immediately. And again, if there's still someone alive, like if you suspect there's someone sitting over here when you want to cross over on the right, part of the reason why you want to move fast, it doesn't mean that you have to immediately get into this. Like you're not a robot. You're not going to try to sit into this position as fast as possible. But like if you immediately get to this type of position, then you've afforded yourself time to like get Pain over here. You can sit here, potentially take a fight with someone, and that gives an opening for your teammates to push through the left side. And that's where like looking at this game on a team level is a lot different. Or like it helps reinforce a lot of this, where even if you can't push up yourself, you're taking the attention away from the enemy team, which allows an opportunity for one of your other teammates that are looking to move forward. But yeah, we want to we need to be overly aggressive. And I'd rather be overly aggressive, feed a lot, and then we can slowly refine it, versus like generally staying alive and never realizing those big opportunities that we have to cash out. I think the other thing for you specifically is we want to avoid tunneling the objective. We have to be really careful about that, especially as a 52. We'll say splat. That feels a little less harsh. Splat first before you start moving forward, then objective. Like as a 52, you want to be more selfish, which this kind of goes into the aggro mind, but like your overall goal is like you need to be more selfish as a player, especially if you're going to be playing frontline. Is that how you spell selfish? I swear whenever I rate stuff, it like feels weird. Yeah. So this is like, you want to become a very selfish player, because 52 is a very selfish weapon. Oh, tower is slowly moving back because the enemy, like your teammates, when your teammate that was on tower used inkjet, oh, someone needs to get on tower. You have to have the mentality, someone else on my team will get it. I don't have to worry about it. Yes, there's like 0.5% of the time or like 2% of the time that yes, you should be on tower, but almost in every case that's not going to be the case and you're going to want to be more aggressive. So you have to just trust that your teammates are going to do objective. If I'm a splash or I'm a zap player or anyone on your team, I don't care if my 52 can get a pick. I don't care if they touch tower or not. That pick is so valuable. I'm fine. Just sit, like if I can sit on tower without having to deal with a bunch of pressure, then we're chilling. But yeah, the name of the game is that you want to be selfish. This should be you. You want to be a very selfish individual. That's the nature of playing frontline. And that's where, like, instead of moving forward on top of the tower, we're pushing past the tower and creating that space for the rest of our team. Your teammates will thank you later, but it feels awkward early on, especially if you're used to playing a more support type role. I think as a team, I think for the most part, y'all actually did a really good job of like coordinating. Like every time that y'all had an opening and an opportunity, y'all had a Booyah Bomb, y'all had a Inkjet, you had a special to push with. So definitely kudos to you as a team. And I think in certain spots, if you are more selfish and you're looking to take space and push with that Booyah Bomb, that alone could make the difference. But I think in general for like your team, I know one of these people weren't partied with you, but just assuming everyone together, I would say like we need to slow down specifically on defense. We need to speed it up on offense. More specifically, like fine, like work together. For that like first pick. The first little bit of damage you can inflict on their push, like that's the moment where you as a team have to work very much together. It's hard to find those opportunities, and you can see when y'all aren't working together and their Squiffer has the opportunity to take a bunch of individual fights and a bunch of individual shots, they're gonna hit those. You know, good players are gonna hit those. And I think once y'all have the momentum, y'all were super chilling. But once the enemy team had momentum, y'all often got snowballed. And I don't think the push that they had to 19, I don't think in like the KO as well. That happened because we started taking fights by ourselves instead of like painting for special or like, you know, this goes back to you as well. But like just staying alive. Like you're in a good position, and instead of committing to a fight before your teammates spawn in and can get into position, just throw that wall down and just kind of relax, or sit behind a ledge and just kind of relax. Give your teammates an opportunity to like move forward. And again, that opening was like a great example of y'all doing that successfully. But like when you were on defense and like, you know, you were playing around this block and you like backed up, or you played around. There was a couple of opportunities. Basically, every time you got picked by Squiffer, you could have slowed it down a little bit and just played behind cover and let one. Like there was a lot of times, like there was that one time your poor T-Tech was like ready to have this huge flank, and then everyone just got, you know. Again, Squiffer made a really good play on their team, but like your whole team got like wiped out on the left side or on the right side, and your poor T-Tech was like stuck over here, and then they panicked and they threw like a tri-strike over here, and then they got picked, and then that's kind of what snowballed that whole situation. So it's kind of the big thing. Possibly small differences. I also feel like I got a long way to go with awareness. Yeah, the awareness definitely, like, it's something that awareness encompasses a lot of different skills. So it's really hard to like pinpoint what that is. Yo, what's up, Reese? Welcome in. Because like you're not wrong, but like what part of the umbrella that is awareness are we like being specific about? You know? I think probably the best, like if you can try to do your role in a vacuum as best as you can, I think that's a good starting place for you. And I think the biggest offense that I've seen with your gameplay as a 52 is not being that selfish player, not moving like you should without thinking already be moving forward when you notice that your teammates and like yes, if it is an awareness issue being like you don't notice that your teammates get picks, like if you don't notice two of them are down and that's what's causing you to do it, then yes, I think, you know, part of this is that we need to, you know, constantly have in our peripheral kind of be looking at the overall UI and see if, you know, when people get splatted, just be able to check the top of it without throwing off the rest of our momentum. But I think when watching you play, it looked like you were it looked like you were pretty quick to start making movements, and then something happens that gives you cold feet, and then you're like, oh, I'm scared. You know, like you get to this point where it's like, okay, I'm going. Oh no, there's some adversarial force against me. I'm very scared, and we have to get past that point. That's what I feel like it is. But if it is an awareness thing that you feel like that happens, then no worries. I'm actually so much better at being selfish. Yeah, because you're like, there's this like something like there's that reward. Like you actually have like a tangible thing to cash out on that you can like tangibly and like visually see. Like I get to move really fast if I like force myself to play fast. So like if opening Gambit helps you push to be that, then go for it, you know? It's like if that helps, if you can play open, if you can play like X rank or, you know, I guess you're S rank currently. But when you get X rank, if you play series, play open, play scrims, if opening Gambit helps with that not attitude, but like if it helps with that decision making so that you are less cautious, then go for it. That's like the training weights almost. Which I think opening Gambit's like not bad, but I can do X, I guess. That's basically the mentality of anyone that ever wants to play X. Oh man. But also welcome in Mint. But yeah, that's something that I would say. And then something I'd say for enemy, although I guess they're more friendly than enemy, but the other team, is that they play like very open. I would say they they play in very vulnerable positions. Yo, Ton Warrior. These results will shock you. No, you're fine. I'm not worried about spoilers, and I'm sure anyone else in the chat probably has the game open or something. Yeah, Ton Warrior, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you. Yeah, try to find advantages with them being in those vulnerable positions. Like a lot of times, like when their team was pushing, their Squiffer was just like sitting out in the open. So this is where we need to like basically like stay alive. Hold them in place. Like basically you want to like if you throw a wall down and you're like kind of shooting at them, but you're not committing to it and you don't leave an angle open to get hit by a Squiffer, you're basically like shaking something shiny in front of them to like hold their attention. And that like if you hold their attention for long enough, one of your teammates can start dropping and pushing. Because again, your team did a really good job of like looking to push and take those off angles. Like so like alarmingly good job of like constantly taking those off angles. We just weren't able to stay alive long enough to be able to punish them for their lapses in positioning. The other thing I would say, and again, this is kind of just like a general thing that as people get better, they get better at it. But a lot of times they are overly focused around the objective. again, those are those times where they're that one spot when tower was slightly moving backwards and you jumped on tower instead of moving around. If I do this in a different color. It's like tower was here and then you decided to go on top of the tower and you end up getting spotted versus playing past the tower and looking for a pick on someone that's behind. Like if you go all the way around, this person is focused so much on the tower that you can find an opportunity to jump on them. And that's something that I think we can make use of that more and more often. And I think 52 is like an awesome weapon to continue to like push this and test this. Because 52 has like, it's very self-reliant and it can be very aggressive. And I think just throughout the game, we want to continue to be able to do that. So hopefully that helps. I think the biggest just missing thing is that aggression, which in some ways it's like, it's nice that like, you know, I think all of the different changes that you see in your aggro play and you being more committal to those types of plays, I think you're going to see a big change positively for like the rest of your team effectively. Try to look, instead of seeing the objective as something that we need to retake immediately, use it as an opportunity to push past it in a lot of cases and like punish the enemy team for also looking at it. It'll help a ton. But overall, again, y'all did very, very good. I think we're there. We're close. I'm struggling to find that. But that's the biggest thing that I'd look forward to, is just focus on the aggro mind, looking to push past. Get those initial splats and then make the life easy for the rest of your team. And like some of like these things and being able to punish them for these things, like all of that stuff will start falling into place if we're able to play like a very strong 52, which again, sometimes you'll have the right play style, but like the execution just isn't there, you know. Either you're uncomfortable or like, you know, unlucky RNG, or, you know, you play against a certain comp that it's like harder for you to like push into. But that's actively what we want to be working on. But y'all are so close to being able to, you know, at least take a few matches. Yeah, definitely kudos to their Squiffer. Their Squiffer played very, very, very well. But they got a lot of these picks because they like, it was like one person, like they fought out in the open versus like someone on your team also fighting out in the open. So if you can play around cover and stay alive, we can start punishing this person for being as aggressive as they are with Squiffer. Or at least make them play a little bit more passive, which gives them harder shots to hit. Which, I mean, hey, they seem pretty good, so maybe they just keep hitting all their shots, but, you know. Start making them feel more uncomfortable, and you'll probably see it reflected in their stats. But hopefully at some point we can get a continual update to the story, whether it be good news or bad news, because I'm invested. We're all invested, and we're all here supporting you. I guess we're going to see the results. The popularity vote is very funny. Beating them twice, I got you. I mean, y'all are very close, y'all. Y'all are a few... Squeeze a little bit more value out of certain pushes, and y'all are like, you know, holding a good lead until the end. More frequent going ahead, that's what I'm saying. Let's go. But thank you so much for the replay, and thank you for your patience. Again, I was devastated when the patch happened initially. And the other replay got deleted. Splodfest results. Moch conch shells? That's me, right? He's actually pretty close. Yeah, Vanilla went hard. I cannot lie. Vanilla went so hard this Splatfest. Flavor of ice cream? Is this popularity vote? Maybe I shouldn't be surprised. Oh my God. Maybe I shouldn't have been surprised about this result. It is very funny though. You are not wrong, my friend. I was shocked. When you said you were shocked, part of me is like, wait, did Mint Chocolate Chip actually win? But no, this is actually even funnier. Because we all knew vanilla should be the most popular, and it was like by far the most popular. Oh man. Yo, what's up, Austin? Team Vanilla, congrats. Or I'm assuming y'all are gonna win. We're still working through. Thank you very much for the review. I hope I can show you the next good win we get against them. Yeah, for sure. Hopefully I can catch it live. I'm here for you. Put me in. Equal vote. Wait, we won something. That's me. I did the pro. Y'all are welcome. In BD. I think I had like 1800 power. I think I had like 1800 power. It was not a good Splatfest. I had like 23 last time. Let's just say it was a tough one. But I was trying to play Squeezer and stuff. Aerospace were getting the best out of me. That's so fun. It's so funny. Yeah, no problem, Lily. Again, thank you so much, and yeah, make sure if y'all don't already follow Lily, give them a follow. They do so much for the competitive community. They're a streamer. They do everything. Give them their support. I always like how they do the results, but it's like never close. You don't have to be good at like these numbers don't matter because like vanilla won like everything. Shiver wins again. I guess shout out to Mint Chip for winning the competitive number, the competitive result. That's all that matters, you know? Right? Oh yeah, there's a challenge coming up. Oh, it's already up. Probably won't play it though. So which one would be better? Is it like, is Brush or Roller better at Clam Blitz? I know Brush is always very frustrating to play against because they're just so fast and they can like speed around. I feel like Rollers are gonna have an even harder time by not what's that called? Like they're gonna have even less paint. But I don't know. I feel like in Splatoon 2 I was like constant, maybe because I wasn't quite as good at the game back then, but I was like constantly getting like super punished by brushes. Also those maps are bigger. Honestly, that's probably why. The maps in Splatoon 2 are a lot bigger, but you know. Where does that go 2 and 11 to do nothing but two powerful clams? Yeah, and they win the game off of it too. That's the worst part. But yeah, if it doesn't work out, then it's like extra bad for them. But that's interesting. I think it's an interesting challenge. I don't know how interested I'm in at playing it. Oh, Kraken Roller, true. Yeah, because that's the only Kraken in the match, right? They don't win when I'm on my team. Fair. Always the enemy ink brush. That's how it feels though. I can remember like a million times that I lost to an ink brush, and I can't really remember a single time. Alright, paint brushes, true. Alright, I need to get some water real quick. We'll jump into another one. I think I might need to... I don't know how many we're gonna be able to get through tonight, because like I said, I've just been like on and off. I've needed extra time to rest because I've been kind of sick over the weekend. Give me a second, we'll get through at least another one and we'll see how I feel. We might be able to do one more after. And then, like I said, if you do want to get any sort of replay, do exclamation point replay in the chat. Join the Discord and you can submit your code into that. But I'll probably take submissions for like the rest of the night, and then tomorrow I'll probably close the submissions until the new patch. Just because there's still a little bit of a backlog because I wasn't able to get to as many as I was initially hoping for. And, you know, I don't want anyone to be left off. But we'll open it back up when the new patch comes, but I don't want anyone's review to get deleted. So let me update that. Is this the Dark Masters team or is this a different team? I feel like I've seen this player's name before. But I don't think I remember seeing them on Dark Masters. It could be, I don't know. Dark Tetras. And then this was a scrim against a team called Parallax, which sounds familiar as well. What's up? Here, cannot spell. Although that's not our team name. If I can find our team name, then maybe I can. Oh no, this is Dark Masters. Okay. I remember their Hydra. Alright, cool. Rainmaker, interesting. Alright, I'll be right back. Well, I'm actually gonna put... Is that their team name though? Dark Masters? Dark Masters? I think so. Or wait, maybe I should put... Maybe I do... that... Oops. Then I do that. Do you have enough? Oh shoot. Do you have enough space? I think so. There we go. Alright, cool. If I could do the funny characters and I knew how to do that on my keyboard, I would do that instead. But I don't know exactly how good Parallax is, but Dark Masters is like, they were recently at the top end of low ink. I think they got low ink banned, but they're very solid. They've had a lot of really good results in just like a lot of like weekly tournaments and weekend tournaments. So I would imagine both teams are going to be very solid. So this should be a fun match to watch. But anyways, I'll be back in like a couple minutes. I just need to get some water and BRB. Probably a little bit of coffee as well if it's still warm. And I'll BRB. Alright, we got some coffee, we got some water, we are chilling. Alright. So I believe this was a scrim is what they mentioned. They said they need help with Tetris. Let's go. I have played a bit with Tetris, so I should be able to assist. Alright. So let's get started. So we're looking at Rainmaker and Manta. When it comes to comps, we have like kind of, I would say we generally have like two more aggressive players, a sort of midline context, like depending on the context. And we have like a dedicated backline with Hydra. Hydra is a little bit slow for Rainmaker in a lot of cases, but I know that they play other Splotlings and maybe even other backline. But I know that they're known for their Hydra, and their Hydra is quite good from what I've seen and what I've played against. So I think on a map like this, I think Hydra can still get a lot of value, especially just it having the extra range when playing around top. And playing around top mid, holding bunkers, and you know, if their team is pushing, like if we're pushing this way to Rainmaker, if we can get on top of the enemy team bunker, like sit on top of this grate and be able to watch all of this, like we're in a good spot. We have to be a little bit careful against the Inkjet on the enemy team. Like they have Inkjet cooler combo, which is always a little bit scary. I think Inkjet Nod is also like kind of solid right now. I don't think it's too bad. I think Nautilus does a really good job of countering our Wiper. So all of these weapons are effectively like short range weapons in this context because of the double splatling. So it's a little bit scary for us. The enemy team also has just a lot of quickness. Sploosh is kind of a quirky pick, but it makes a lot of sense in Rainmaker. I don't know if it's necessarily optimal, but it's definitely scary. If there's anything we've learned from watching Jeff's Sploosh over all the recent tournaments and for all of them playing solo queue in Splatoon 2, Splatoon 3, is that you can make Sploosh work if you really work for it. Yo, what's up, Jack the Nugget? Managed to get over 2 mil? Cloud for Vanilla? You might have been the X Factor. That might have been why they clean swept. But congrats. Hopefully you had a fun Splatfest. And so yeah, generally I would say our comp is a little bit slower. That's not too bad. But I would give up Pop in general. I'm always scared of their team with Pop, and we have to always be careful about their Inkjets because we don't have like a cooler to mitigate the deaths themselves. So I would probably resort to giving, not resort, but I'd probably give them Pop at the beginning. Just because I don't want Sploosh to be able to start moving. Ouch, that's tough. And they should be able to get a pretty free first check. So I'm going to look at this from a higher level view. I'm going to guess our teammates got caught by one of the Splatlings. Oh, we did get Pop. That's interesting. They just gave up Pop. And we get caught by BP. We get caught by bombs. I see. So there's one thing that we need to be kind of aware of. Oh, wait, I think I should probably ping them. Hmm. Don't know. Okay. Either way. So this is the one things that we need to be focused on. Like after we get the pop, like yes, pop is valuable, but when you think about this map in general, pop doesn't affect anyone in their bunker, and a lot of times people like to take this top ledge on bunker. And because we get severely outranged by their splatlings, one thing we need to consider, like when we get pop, either we need to back up or we need to like fully commit to moving forward. The one valuable thing about getting a pop like this is that it allows you to very quickly take their front bunker. But we need to commit to something. If we just sit out here, or if we're like playing around, even around like the cut like ledge, these people, you know, like this is a good spot for them. They can actually still see us and push us. They can't really get, neither of the splattings can get to us if we're sitting here, and we can potentially get the jump on them. So this is like a common thing, which you have to like be fast and commit to it. And I also think that if we are going to commit to the pop, I think we probably should have played with them as well and had a third person in mid. So I'm not sure exactly why we went to the left when we do end up getting pop, but yeah, this seems a little bit. Yo, what's up, Ace of Clubs? How are you? How did your Splatfest go? There's one thing that we need to work on. We're kind of working with different ideas, and we need to commit. We get the pop, we have to commit. Are we going to commit to like getting quick special? Are we going to commit to taking the aggressive play? Which I think if our Tetris is with us, I think we can commit to the aggressive play. But we need to like do something. We like sit out in the open and we don't immediately move forward, and then our punishment is that we get spotted in this type of situation. We get caught by this really nicely thrown fizzy bomb on the blue team. And then at this point, just the rest of the team gets cleaned up. Nice pick from the Hydra. Like I like the way the Hydra's playing here because they know that they can't do anything about first checkpoint, but they're trying to just prevent this game from like fully snowballing out of control. And getting 2 picks in a 1v4 is like super high value. So the enemy team, if the Hydra either jumps out or if they just get splatted, like the enemy team gets to like 30 or 20 for free, and this game gets very, very hard. So even though like this whole play goes bad, a lot of kudos to the Hydra for kind of finding some opportunity and finding some value with as tough as this start was. Good patience here. We have to be a little bit careful when we're on this ledge initially. I know we were getting poked at by the I don't think I backed up enough. We initially get poked at by the Tri-Slosh, which is like definitely scary. They do a good job in this kind of situation. But yeah, we're fortunate they don't actually commit to that play, but there's a chance we get punished on this wall, so we need to be careful. It's not bad, like it's a good spot to hold for defense, but there's also risk when they have like a Tri-Slosh on their team. Nice play though. Last 2 people are on the right side, I believe. Good commitment. Alright, I'm here for it. That's tough. This probably stops the push. I'm gonna back up real quick. Okay. Dang, Jet's going crazy. I kind of like this idea, but I'm wondering if the rest of our team is like, if they're hesitant or if we're going too fast. That's like the one thing I want to check. Oh, one of them jumps in. Okay, I can see. I don't know if it's me, but Turf War is harder to win than ranked modes. I kind of agree. At least for me, it's harder. I'm not saying in general it's harder, but definitely for me, it's harder. Because I like super struggle. Like if I play like Splash, I don't, it requires like a certain level of discipline. Like, you don't really get rewarded for overheating in Turf War. Because things just kind of equalize. But I will say it actually is a nice test to like work on like your discipline. Like not to overcommit, hold good positions just indefinitely and all that. But no, I'm with you. But the flank right here would have been a better option. So you're saying after the pick on the knot pushing through? Yeah, I think it's fine. I think either way is fine. One thing I would say though, I'm not sure if we thought there was still someone on left. We probably heard the call out and maybe we didn't see them move. Maybe we didn't see them drop off. Cause yeah, I don't know if it's worth to go for this. I'm okay with the rape plan. Yeah, definitely ask questions. Especially since you play the weapon. Like, I mean, all feedback helps from anyone, but yeah, no, you're good. I think this plan's fine. Like, crossing over here is totally fine, but I think the bigger, more important thing here is that our pathing, like, we don't want to path and then use our, like, special here. I don't think we need to do that. What I'd like to see is us to gain height advantage to collapse on this ball point. So if it were me, I would just take top bunker and roll down on them. But you could totally cross over right side and be behind them as well. Both of these are totally fine. The only thing for me is like if I'm in their position, I'm not fully paying attention to like the timing of where this person is. And I don't necessarily want to cross. And this isn't like I don't want to be caught by someone on their elbow potentially. So I don't know when they get spotted. So they get spotted now, they respawn now. Okay. Yeah, no, you're totally fine. Yeah, I think honestly, this is probably the better play because it also gives us some paint over here. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I like this play a lot better. I think just flanking behind, or you can flank up top. Like, I don't really care. But the biggest thing is that either we want to get fully behind them or we want to get on top of them and roll into them. I think the Reef Slider is a cute play, but I don't think we necessarily need to go for it. So no, I'm with you, son. But I'm not sure if I don't know if we didn't know where the ball point was. And rolling past the ball point is actually really interesting. But instead of going for this play, I think we just play closer to the objective and get more information before we commit to our rolls. I don't like that we commit to our rolls out in the open without even seeing the person. Yeah. But if you pay attention to the respawns, you know there's no threat. I wouldn't have been paying attention as that hard probably, so I probably would have just taken top just to simplify for my own brain. But I think objectively, like you totally could have gone right and you never get punished. But in that situation, I do like right a lot better than just going over top, but I think both work. Okay, we're kind of nice pick. We're slowly moving in after. Like, we're kind of trickling in with just jumping in and stuff with Tetra, which we're running, yeah. Very standard build. Yeah, I think it jumps fine. We're gonna go for, yeah, I was gonna say. Although I wouldn't have, if we were faster, I think we can just kind of pop that. No? Like, if we're just fast, like, right now, instead of slowing down, like, we have two teammates that are watching the Rainmaker. If I'm you in this situation, I just get up here, immediately Reef Slider, and I Reef Slider, like, all the way on this far left thing over here. And, like, get to the ledge, like, get underneath the ledge that your teammates can't see. And just, like, break this open. Like, yes, they're probably going to pick it up and get some points, but I think if we're a little bit faster, we might actually be able to catch some people. But overall, 13 still, like, pretty bad for us, but it's definitely winnable. You can definitely get like a push under 7, like, or a push 7 or more, like, pretty confidently in a lot of spots. I'm not sure what we're looking for on the right side. I'm not sure like what kind of play we're looking for with this. Because even if they're sitting top mid, I don't think we can like drop and roll on them, you know? Like, I think your presence would be a lot better playing around this wall and helping with the bunker currently. Like, if there is someone down here, you can roll on them. Like, I can understand the potential ideas, but we're like constantly just throwing chickens like on, like, around the gray area. And it just, it leaves the rest of our team in like very tough spots. Like, we're playing really far away from our team, and that's not the role I want to be playing as a Tetra. Like, it looks like you're trying to like find an opportunity to drop on this ball point, but I don't think the range even aligns. And even if that play did open up, I still don't like the play. But, you know, at a certain point you decide that like we're gonna reposition, so I like that we end up repositioning. But I'd much rather us drop on top of bunker than play on the right side, unless the objective, for whatever reason, is playing around the right side. Hopefully we can finally start playing around top mid. Because throughout parts of this game, like some parts you played the front line very well, but it feels like kind of in the middle of this game, you've let other people be like the front line, and you haven't had as much value. Like now we're working as a team, which is good. It's tough we don't get the pick. I don't know if that's worth it. I feel like you die no matter what, and there's enough, like, you end up reef sliding into like an open space, so like they can't really like go anywhere. Like the good reef sliders that I've seen, not that those things are bad, like giving that space is fine, but like 2 of our teammates just went down. So like we're not gonna get any value from like separating their team, because like they all stay alive and you're probably gonna get hit by one of the splatlings. Like the high value reef sliders are like when you were up here and you could like reef slider into this area. Like anytime where you can like reef slider off of a ledge, like if they're sitting down here and you're like top of bunker and you're able to like reef slide and drop on top of a ledge, that's where you get a lot of value, because they can't really, they have a hard time like running away and reacting to it. We'll get back to our team view. Yeah. I haven't played, like, I'd be interested in Sun's perspective if you have any kind of difference of opinion or your own spin on it. But I feel like a lot of times when we're trying to retake, I feel like it's very common to like throw a chicken over our bunker wall into the bunker and then just like climb the wall somewhere and like play around that way. Like get the chicken first to give us some intel, especially when our entire area is covered. And then start climbing the wall and like use that information to help us out. I feel like we're going in for no reason without any sort of any sort of sub usage. It's minor, but like it feels like a very common flow that, like, as someone that plays with a Tetra, I'm not a Tetra player, but as someone that plays with a Tetra, like those types of auto bombs like help a ton. Like a ton. To really like scout stuff out. Love the patience here. We have a lot of time because, I mean, we're in a tough spot, but like they can't push to a new like high score. Yeah, at a certain point once they start fighting, I'd look to help. Nice job with that. Good job taking cover. Now you're over top of them. This is awesome. I think we're panicking a little bit, but we get the pick, which is nice. All right, now we're moving forward. Now we're like super moving forward. Now we should be crossing. Yeah, we're wasting time. There's no one that can be over here. And we don't have the luxury to like, paint in this situation. There's no one to sniff out or to scout, and we need a massive push. We need to get past first checkpoint first. So like, that needs to be our priority. We wasted too much time. And we gave them a bunch of space. Nice job with the pick though. And I feel like we're either unsure or it's a lack of confidence, or it's a lack of knowing what to do next. Oh, we almost got it. That's a very low percentage conversion, but I can understand the, you know, trying to just get something so that we can have another push. But like after we get the wipe, like we get 2 down here, which is really nice, but we need to go. 2 weapons that might check under ledges. Yeah, that's a good point as well. Relating back to their comp, like yeah, they could definitely have people watching it. And it at least like pushes the splatlings out. Because like even though like splatlings are gonna kind of show themselves, and we're gonna have a harder time dropping on them because they're gonna use their range, the chicken can at least like push them closer into mid so we can like start moving forward. After this pick, we know 2 of them are coming out of spawn. We have to be like immediate with what we're doing. We need first checkpoint, so like as a team we need to decide, are we taking left or are we taking right? I'm okay with you painting, but you need to be like immediately jumping into bunker, or immediately pushing past this podium, or immediately taking this right flank. Again, I don't really care which one, but we need to be in front of like the podium or playing around the podium. If someone drops over here, we punish them. If someone drops over here, we punish them. If they are playing over here, we need to at least give that information to our team. But the fact that we're so slow, and we're like, we know, like we literally know that they're like, there can't be anyone over here. And I know it's like a good habit of like, oh yeah, just like paint sides. Like that's a common thing that I'll say is like, oh yeah, like if you wipe them, like it's good to like paint the sides, but now is not the time nor the place to be going for that. We need to be painting the common areas that they're going to be in. And like we don't really have an easy way to get over here. We could like, there is a chance if you wanted to, you could cross over here. You could play over here and do like some quirky stuff, but like I don't think you need to do that. I think at the very least just like play bunker or play this right flank. And look, like if they play super safe, then they're giving up first checkpoint and they're playing back here, which is like, I'm fine. But realistically, they're either going to be in this area, which playing bunker or right side allows us to potentially deal with them. Or they're going to be up here, which like, we can't necessarily go for that, but that is one less person we have to worry about when we go for this right flank. How much I need to work on my roll mechanics? Wait, what do you mean roll mechanics? Like which part of it? Is like using all 4 rolls or the direction at which you're rolling? Because like even if we get these picks, like it's not gonna do a lot for us. I think even here, like we probably should be giving jumps to our teammates. Which I guess we do, so that's fine. But if we give jumps to our teammates, we don't have to like force this as hard as we do. Like I understand we're feeling like this situation's bad, but it's not as desperate as we feel like it is. I feel like we let our emotions like go for the desperation play versus going for like the correct play. But can we? Oh wait, we're cooking. They gave us an option. Nice, play by your Hydra. We need to move forward. We have to get it to 13. We need to be in their elbow. We need to be in their stuff. We need an answer to that ball point, which we could potentially have if we move forward faster. Okay, our team's cooking. No, don't say we lose. Okay. We did not deserve this. We did not deserve this game. But nice job, you know, finding an out at the end. But I will say, after we get the checkpoint, after we get the splat on the tri-slosh, especially when you have special, this is where you need to look for some sort of more aggressive play. Roll into people's shots a lot. Ah, I see. I should be a little bit past overtime. I think went too far back, but either way. So like we're able to pick up here, we get picks. Good job staying alive against the tri-slosh here. But in this situation, we have to know to like move forward. Again, if you want to play, like if you want to go here and jump up on top of here. It's probably not the best idea because they're not probably catches us. Realistically, in the situation, we just like we get underneath and around this mast and we look for a play. We either can continue to push under this ledge and look for people that are potentially dropping. You know, we can camp this area because people probably often are going to drop and move this way. We can get underneath and get shots on, you know, ballpoint's kind of the big ticket, but like Nautilus is also really good value in this spot. You know, there's a lot of different ideas and we have to kind of react depending on how they position themselves. Cause like Nautilus, a lot of Splatlings like to be on these grates, especially when they're defending a push of 13. But we just need, like, we need to get into position and then make the decision. We're just, again, we're unsure of like what we should be doing. And we shouldn't be painting like this. We can't play this as slow and give them as much space. Because like, I don't know why their entire team is playing like from down low. I think they both try to stab at the Rainmaker and then you're able to punish them. Which is good, but like... But yeah, we need to be a lot more proactive, taking space when we get those types of picks. Because most teams aren't going to give you that kind of opportunity to like... get those types of free picks. Like the enemy team like overly panicked at the end there. In multiple occasions, but yeah, we need to be faster with our... Nice fist bump. We have to be really fast when it comes to like finding those advantages. But overall, really good game and awesome comeback. I was not expecting that. Needless to say. So I think the biggest thing, I say it a lot, move forward after. I'm just gonna say wipe in quotes because it's either like if you get the wipeout thing, or if you get, you know, if it's like a soft wipe where we know the rest of their team is coming out of spawn right now. We didn't technically get the indication, like they're not all 4 down, but the last 2 people are coming out of spawn right now, so we know like their location. It also can include situations where you get like 3 down and then your teammates are dealing with the last person and you can start moving forward. But those are the types of situations that like when we get into those, we have to know where to go. And it feels like we probably like don't know exactly where we feel comfortable, at least on this map. It might not be in general, at least on this map, I don't think we know. And when we need to get first checkpoints, just take bunker. Either play for this right flank like Suns was talking about, and you can also climb up top of here as an adaptation, or just sit in bunker, look for a way to drop around, or drop down on them potentially. But try to find high ground on top of the enemy would be like your best bet. Don't waste time painting over here if you know they're not going to be over here, you know? You're just making your life harder once, like what you're doing is like you're painting for a special that is actually decent in certain spots in Rainmaker, but like in the grand scheme of things, it's not nearly as important than like taking that space forward. You're just letting them set up, and the thing, like if you move forward, they have to fight like back here, or they're stuck back here. But if you're just like painting over here and they don't see anyone on their minimap that's like moving forward, then it's like, oh, we can just move forward. We can take bunker, and then they have to fight us when we're in bunker. Like that's comfortable for them. But yeah, that's like the big thing that happened on a lot of occasions, especially at the end there. And it just felt like we just didn't. Like we didn't know what we should be doing. I think you know that you should be pushing forward as a Tetra, but I don't think you knew like where you should be going. And that's something that you can game plan out outside of the game. You can take inspiration when you play like solo queue, or you can take inspiration when you watch other people play. There's a lot of different ways, you know, you can watch tournament VODs. There's a lot of different ways you can go about it, but we need to like get a better understanding about all of that. At the end, doing the surge tech is the best play probably when you have Reeve. I think it's the only thing I'm concerned with this surge play is that when we end up on top of here, and it depends on the timing windows. If they already have a splatling on, like if they have a splatling that jumps in and walks across the mast, like we just get beamed and we don't have time for anything. But it is a very powerful position. Like if you can sit on top of here with Reef, like you can push on top of the grate yourself. Like it's a very strong position for you to be up here. Also just being up here. Like you can be really annoying and you can do a lot of really annoying stuff. I'm just very scared against specifically like they're not taking that type of role because they probably, in most cases, they probably autopilot to sit up there because it's just like a strong spot in general. But if you can get up there safely, then I like it. But I'm a little, again, especially in the moment of the match, but even I think objectively, I think they get the Nautilus is there in time. But even in like, especially in the middle of the match, like I'm kind of, like, if you go fast enough, you might be able to just get away with it, but that is something that you have to be concerned about. So playing like under the mast might be safer. And if you see them on top of the mast, you can like roll and like hit them from under the grate. It's like a common thing I'll watch X-Ray do. Like X-Ray and Rainmaker will sit in the pit. They can watch, like he can watch elbow. He can watch people potentially looking to drop over there. And he has full vantage point of like this mast area. Fast pop, keeping up momentum. Saving yourself. Yeah, that's a good way to like dissect stuff. Fast pop actually helps quite a bit. Sometimes it can also like, which I guess it kind of goes back into keeping momentum. But sometimes you can use it to just like very quickly create space for your Rainmaker. We don't do it a lot because it's like, it's very gimmicky and it doesn't give you a lot of points. But in certain cases, you can use the Reef Slider to just like open up, like it gives paint and it gives like a pseudo shield for the Rainmaker carrier to like move forward. We've used that on like Scorch Gorge a few times to like take lead. Like when we know that we only have to get like we get first checkpoint, I pick up Rainmaker and X-Ray just like Reef Sliders. And that'll at least get us to like 40, 30. Sometimes more if we're able to like actually get plays, but it can guarantee you like at least some degree of points. But yeah, this is like the most egregious thing that I saw throughout all of this. Is that like we were focusing on painting and stuff and not being like the space taker. And that really hurts the rest of your team throughout all these pushes and plays. The other thing I would say is I think it's just general positioning on the map. Like we play like a lot of times we play too far away from team. Or we're too far away from the objective. And one of the things that I would call on is like when we were sitting up here and the Rainmaker was like Rainmaker was like over here. And so you're watching like this area specifically and watching like this area when like in the meantime, the enemy team has like full control of this area and your team's getting pushed from a bunch of different angles. And they are just suffering. Meanwhile, you're just kind of sitting there. And you wanna try to get your hands in as many fights as possible. Because even if you have to rush to take a position and you get splatted or whatever, it's like, oh, I have quick respawn. I can keep kind of moving forward. And I think in general, I think we need to also find our comfort spots. And I think that's why like we're rolling out here and Reef Slidering when we're trying to go for a first checkpoint instead of taking the right flank or taking this bunker up here. Like we want to be on top of like literally above enemy. And we should be ready to like drop whenever we get enough value or we see an opportunity. And an excellent example of you doing this correctly was when you were sitting up here and you saw the Nautilus over here. I was not expecting you to be able to just like drop, roll, and like get this pick. That almost set up like a game-winning push in itself. Because you get that pick, you continue your movement forward, or you continue your movement forward, and like your team at least gets first checkpoint for free. Like this is like a super heads up play. Like you're not literally above them, but at least you have height and you can like drop on them. It's like being in like high central areas, whether it be on your bunker, or if you're retaking sitting on this wall, or if you're, you know, looking to push them being in this type of central area. If you can play centrally, but you don't always want to be central. Like you can play on the outside. Like there's times where you do want to play like on the sides of maps or like use the sides as flanks. But Manta is kind of a weird map layout. And a lot of times like this is like the side flank that you're kind of going for, or like playing this way is like a side flank kind of. Like playing over here is very disconnected for Rainmaker specifically. And a lot of times for a lot of maps, like the height is around middle. So it's not the only way for you to play Tetra, but it is a good way on certain maps. Like Umami's another example where like as a Tetra, you can play on top mid and you have access to all of mid by sitting top mid, and you can rotate and roll on anyone that's going to their snipe, that's pushing left, that's pushing right, you know, flanked around to your team. Like you just have so much flexibility with the way that you play. And you want to give yourself options whenever possible. Shoot, there was one other thing I wanted to say. Oh, so yeah, you said you needed help with Tetras. I'm not sure what your other role is, but it feels like you play some sort of like short range shooter. Like a lot of the painting tendencies that you have leads me to believe that you're probably like a shooter player outside of just playing Tetras. It doesn't feel like you're a one trick Tetra. It feels like you're newer. Not that you like, because a lot of your Tetra mechanics, so you probably play Tetra for at least a little bit, but I think a lot of the decisions that you make are autopiloting from being a shooter player, where you're defaulting to painting and defaulting to like trying to get special instead of like being very quick to move forward and take space and everything. So that's kind of the biggest thing that I would say that would help your Tetra specific, like you specifically like playing Tetra. But yeah. Other than that, like I think mechanically you're probably like generally fine. There's a couple of spots where like you like wasted, like when it was after you reef slidered past, you like committed all your rolls and you were like sitting out in the open, and throughout all of your rolls, like at no point did the Splatling ever pop out. And the Splatling did a great job of just waiting for you to use your fourth roll, and they're like, oh, they're stuck in the middle of nowhere. I'm gonna go get a free pick. And that's what happens. And like realistically, you could have just swam up to this podium, and like you can climb on the podium wall if you want to, but like get information on where they're at and then like commit your rolls onto them. Or like if you want to start going wide for a couple of rolls, once you like get to this point and you don't see them, like roll closer to this podium and then wait a second to get that figured out. But again, overall, I think very solid stuff. Nice comeback at the end. But I think there was definitely some more honest opportunities. Like the end of this game felt gimmicky, just, you know, to be quite blunt. But I think there were some honest ways for y'all to be able to like snowball this game after y'all got the initial wipes if you were able to move forward a little bit faster. And you can kind of tell with like a lot of these deaths that like your teammates are playing like the frontline role. Like you delegated the frontline role to them, which that's like your thing. Like I always say Tetris is like kind of one-dimensional because it wants to be that person. It has like hyper mobility and it has a lot of movement to stay alive. And we want to find ourselves in more of those aggressive opportunities. So like after we get a wipe, we don't want to be like painting and waiting. It's kind of like what we saw a little bit with Lily's gameplay on 52, where like you're forcing your K Pro and you're forcing your T-Tech to like push in front of you, and Lily was like sitting centrally with like 52. It's like, no, 52 Tetra, like these types of weapons, they need to be the aggro one, because Tetra has the mobility and 52 has a wall and very quick kill times. And so when we can find ourselves in those more aggressive roles, it's important for us to like take it and do stuff with it. But think that's probably gonna wrap up the reviews for tonight. Thank you for the hydration. I was hoping to get through more, but like I said, I woke up both days and I was just like feeling not great. Throughout the day, I feel a little bit better, but I think I had like a stomach bug or something that I had over the last handful of days, like just didn't sit right. So I spent most of the mornings kind of just lethargic and agonizing. But like I said, throughout the week, we're going to continue to get through all of these. And I don't, like I said, if you want to get a review all about the micro stuff on Tetris, yeah, for sure. That's a good way of putting it. If you want to submit a review, I'm probably going to close it out like tonight or tomorrow morning, just because there's still quite a few that we need to do, and I know that patch is like looming over us. So yeah, it's important for us to get through what we have. It looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 9, I guess technically 10, but someone submitted 2, so we'll probably look at one of them. Or it's Splatfest, maybe we can get through both really quickly. But we have about 10 left, and I think, you know, hopefully we have at least like 2 or 3 more days, if not longer, before the patch actually comes out, which should give us enough time to get through them. So that's my end goal. And then we will kind of get back to stuff. One thing I will say, I'm still trying to figure it out. I personally really enjoy all of the VOD review. But over time, I'm not sure. Like, I have other things that I want to try. And not that I want to do VOD reviews less frequently. I'm trying to figure out the best way. Or like, I don't know if it would be better to just convince the reviews and just say, hey, each review is not like, try to structure conversation a little bit more focused, so that each review is like between 30 minutes and like an hour, but probably closer to 30 or 45. And it's like, we can't go on like these long tangents, which sometimes, you know, and maybe occasionally I'll break that rule, but I like breaking it a lot now because sometimes it just leads to really excellent conversation. But the other thing might be doing it like, you know, having like 1 or 2 a day, because I like doing them frequently, but I don't know. I would like to spend some more time either doing like, you know, for Splatfest, like we were talking about, trying to have like a goal of doing like getting a ×3 battle and stuff. Which, you know, for Splatfest, it'd be like, oh, we're gonna play a lot of Splatfest right now. So it's like maybe have like a review at the start and then get into the Splatfest stuff. I have some aspirations when it comes to like solo queue stuff, and like just trying to find more time to get in the reps for of just like solo queue, like grinding for new powers. Like my goal is to like get into top 500 for like every mode on like the Takaroka division. That's like, I think that's definitely doable, but I need to be very good with it. So I'm still figuring out the format, but I'm not sure, because I really enjoy the VOD reviews, and I end up like learning a bunch of stuff, and it inspires me to make other videos, which are on the way. When I first started the VOD reviews, I had a lot more time, and then like my work schedule and stuff changed, so I have like more of a rigid schedule and less time. So now that I have less time, it's just like I don't have as much time to get everything else done that I want to do. Because I was able to play a lot of solo queue off stream because I just had more time, but now I don't have as much time, so it's like some of the stream time that I want to do. Like I love streaming, I love VOD review, I love playing solo queue and competitive, but you know, there's only so much time in the day, so it's like figuring out kind of what works best. That helps a lot too. I said the input I tried to give, I don't have confidence for that. No, you're good. I definitely appreciate it. You're a very smart player, Sons. I know someone who does it in a really good way. Yeah, I'm down. I'm open for ideas, and I'm open to like hearing from you all. Because there's been like I was amazed and very happy with the response of people that want to you know, I want to provide something that like y'all find beneficial or helpful. So like as we go through it, if y'all are like, you know, sometimes you like really, because I know a lot of times I like repeat myself, and I'm trying to remember to like arbitrarily cut myself off. But if there's certain parts, like if going over like, because sometimes I spend a lot of time and like I make it a point to like go through both comps and stuff, and like if that is getting, if some of that is a little bit redundant, or maybe I can like summarize it, you know, maybe there's like, oh, maybe you can make a video to like talk through the different criteria, and then you just like go through the criteria of like range and, you know, lethal bombs and specials, and just answer those questions at the review to save time. And just, you know, like look for ways to be like more efficient with all of this, you know, like I'm still trying to figure out the full format of everything. So I'm very open. So if y'all have any feedback, that would definitely help me. Oh, you're welcome in, Mystic. Oh, your teammate? Wait, nice. Hopefully you won. Hopefully you got the best of them. They set a timer for 30 minutes and they asked the person to timestamp 2 fights that they can analyze for a long while. Do the overall review. Overwatch terms fights are longer in that game, but it's still a cool concept. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, that could make my life easier. If like, if in the template and everything, if I was a little bit more, like if I had like a field. And it could help as well because it provides a little bit of, it allows the person that's submitting the review to have a little bit of analysis of like, you know, specify like, you know, the timestamp in the game of like a moment that you felt was, you know, either there was a, have them identify like an interesting decision point, or have them identify like, you know, a part that they thought things went wrong or things went well. Yeah, I think that's an interesting idea, and that allows to still go into the deeper discussion. And, you know, for some of the things like that Clan Blitz game on Umami was really cool, where I was like, you know, I forgot, I'm so bad with remembering who, but they kind of felt like they lost the game on defense, but they lost the game because they overly committed on offense and like ended up wiping. Timestamp they struggled with. Gotcha. Yeah, no, I actually really like that. So that's something that I can do. It puts a little bit more work on you all, but I think that's still pretty reasonable, you know? It doesn't necessarily, like I would ask for timestamps, but it doesn't necessarily have to be timestamped, but just, you know, have them give a little bit more feedback of like where specifically things, they felt things like what, why is this the review that they decided to give, you know? It's like, what about this review made you select this in all of the games that you played? You know, if you scrimmed the team for like 10 games, why was this the one that you chose, kind of thing? On Twitter, and you did the quick review with the Zorkonic. Yeah, true. That also could be like nice separate content. That was another thing that once I get better with editing, there's a lot of like there's a lot of parts of these reviews that could totally be their own separate video with like very, very common mistakes, same errors that people make. And the thing you said about the Rainmaker push is like the perfect example. So that's why I pay you the big bucks to be a VIP in chat. Thank you so much. But anyways, yeah, that's all I got. Let me find someone to raid. But again, I appreciate everyone. Hope everyone had a good time with the Splatfest. I probably won't be able to play the challenge, so I need to get people's feedback on how they felt about it, because I just don't think I'm gonna be able to get to it. Who are we gonna read? Sir Skit is streaming. A rare Sir Skit stream. I don't know how much longer they're streaming though, but y'all take care, Chris, and thank you for your patience. We'll definitely get to your review next week. But Sir Skit, I played with them a little bit. They're just super good vibes, very, very talented. They play a lot of just quirky stuff. I think right now they're playing Dynamo, but they play a lot of like B-Blaster. Like they're known for like having a really solid blaster, but they're super, 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 super solid. I mod in a lot of channels, but turn down the request to get paid. I have not done it. I ended up having to stop a little bit early just because my schedule's been a little bit busier than I was anticipating. But definitely so go say hello to Sir Skit. Show them some support. I cannot talk. I need water. Show them some support. They're also a free agent. So if you're a very talented player that's looking for another very talented player, definitely reach out to them. They're super friendly. Super, super awesome person. So they don't stream as much. But the community could get a lot of value from their personality and their gameplay and everything. So definitely show them some love, and I will see y'all soon. Take care, take care. Have a good night, everyone. Appreciate you.